Chapter 909. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was surprised, Murong Qingyu and Zuozishu had already started a fight. A dark flame flew out from the long sword in Murong Qingyu's hand and turned into a dark phoenix shadow. This was the weapon spirit of the long sword in Murong Qingyu's hand. It seemed that the sword in her hand was a spirit weapon. Moreover, from the aura of the dark phoenix shadow, the grade of the long sword in Murong Qingyu's hand was not low. Demon Phoenix, Sword Technique, Phoenix Whirling Slash. Murong Qingyu held the long sword in her hand and made a 360-degree rotation. Like a dancing black phoenix, she slashed out one after another phoenix wing sword aura. As soon as the phoenix wing sword aura appeared, it swallowed Zuozishu in front of her, cutting off Zuozishu's path of retreat. Bang! A muffled sound echoed. Zuozishu, who was swallowed by the phoenix wing sword aura, was instantly sent flying. Puff! After Zuozishu fell to the ground, he continuously vomited blood. His complexion became incomparably pale. Murong Qingyu's expression did not change in the slightest. She still held her sword and attacked Zuozishu. Murong Qingyu's sword was very decisive. It directly aimed at Zuozishu's throat. She obviously wanted to kill Zuozishu on the spot. After seeing this scene, Zuozishu had no time to pay attention to his injuries. He shouted with a panicked expression, "I admit defeat." However, what Zuozishu did not expect was that even though he admitted defeat, Murong Qingyu's sword still did not stop. "She wants to kill me." Seeing Murong Qingyu's decisive sword, Zuozishu's heart was suddenly startled. An uneasy thought arose. However, Zuozishu was after all one of the top 10 prodigies of the Divine Continent's elite list. He also came from a quasi-supreme clan. Naturally, he had some powerful life-saving methods. Pure Jade Immortal Bow. A dark green long bow was taken out by Zuozishu from his Cosmos bag. He held the bow with one hand and pulled the string with the other. He began to draw the dark green long bow. As the dark green long bow was taken out, it emitted an astonishing aura and a transparent figure emerged. As soon as this figure appeared, it fused with Zuozishu's body and pulled the dark green long bow to a full moon. Swish! A dark green arrow flew out from the green longbow and shot towards Murong Qingyu at an extremely fast speed. Seeing the green arrow shooting towards him, Murong Qingyu didn't dare to have the slightest hesitation. He immediately waved the long sword in his hand to chop at the arrow. Clang! A sharp and clear sound echoed. Under Murong Qingyu's attack, the dark green arrow was directly defeated. However, when Murong Qingyu defeated the dark green arrow, her body was also shaken back. She looked at the longbow in Zuozishu's hand with astonishment and said, "Half-master's willpower. I didn't expect you to have such a treasure in your hands. Consider yourself lucky today." Finished speaking, Murong Qingyu no longer paid attention to Zuozishu. He turned around and walked to the side of the fighting field, as if he was choosing his next opponent. Half-Step Sovereign's intent. It seems like this green longbow was used by the Half-Step Sovereign of the Zuo clan. You don't even know about this bow? This is the Zuo family's mid-grade spiritual weapon, the Azure Dragon Bow. It was the bow that half-venerable Azure used when he was alive. It turns out to be half-venerable Azure's weapon. No wonder it has such great power. It seems that Zuozishu's position in the Zuo clan is not ordinary. It seems like Lady Qingyu has thorns. It will be very difficult for Zuozishu to pursue her. Even if Lady Qingyu doesn't have thorns, it won't be easy for Zuozishu to pursue her. He has a lot of opponents. Seeing the longbow in Zuozishu's hand and Murong Qingyu's decisive attack, everyone couldn't help but sigh. Who? Seeing that he forced Murong Qingyu back with one arrow, Zuozishu let out a deep breath. He looked at Murong Qingyu's beautiful figure and helplessly shook his head. From Murong Qingyu's sword just now, he already knew that it was impossible for him and Murong Qingyu to be together. Immediately, Zuozishu no longer hesitated. He turned around and walked out of the fighting field. After defeating Zuozishu, Murong Qingyu challenged a few more people and defeated them one by one. replacing their ranking on the Divine Continent's elite list. However, because the higher-ranked people weren't in Dong Sheng Holy City, Murong Qingyu couldn't challenge them. She could only give up. Then, Murong Qingyu didn't stay any longer. She got up and walked out of the Divine Continent's fighting field. After leaving the Divine Continent's fighting field, Murong Qingyu didn't continue to stay in Dong Sheng Holy City. Instead, she headed towards the Western Continent. Seeing the direction Murong Qingyu was heading, Qingyun faintly smiled and continued to silently follow behind Murong Qingyu. Since everyone was heading towards the Western Continent, from Qingyun's point of view, it couldn't be better. This way, it wouldn't delay his journey to the Western Continent. He could also continue to follow Murong Qingyu and slowly understand her identity and origin. In the next few days, Qingyun had been following behind Murong Qingyu, moving forward neither fast nor slow. However, the scene in front of him made Qingyun instantly feel helpless. He saw Murong Qingyu's figure suddenly disperse. She directly dissipated between heaven and earth, not leaving the slightest trace of aura. In addition, when Qingyun felt helpless in his heart, he was even more shocked in his heart, because the divine ability Murong Qingyu used just now was the innate divine ability of the Heavenly Demon Clan, Heavenly Demon Disintegration. Heavenly Demon Disintegration was a powerful method of the Heavenly Demon Clan to avoid being hunted down by experts. By disintegrating one's body, one could conceal one's self, thus achieving the divine ability to avoid powerful opponents. Heavenly Demon Disintegration. Looking at the disappearing figure of Qingyun, Qingyun revealed an astonished expression. He found it hard to believe that Murong Qingyu was actually a heavenly demon. I have been using the hidden door. Logically speaking, Murong Qingyu shouldn't have discovered me, right? Thinking that he hadn't revealed himself from the beginning to the end, yet Murong Qingyu used the Heavenly Demon Disintegration to escape. Qingyun couldn't help but feel puzzled. However, before Qingyun could understand, he felt a powerful aura shrouding towards him. It was a middle-aged man wearing a meow black robe. His whole body was surrounded by demonic fog, giving people a powerful, gloomy, and terrifying feeling. There is the aura of the Saintess here. It seems that he just left here. That black-clothed, middle-aged man glanced around. His body turned into a black shadow and disappeared into the horizon. A heavenly demon with the strength of a demigod. Looking at the black shadow that disappeared into the horizon, Qingyun frowned. His mood became somewhat heavy. I didn't expect that even a demigod heavenly demon had already come to the Tianhan continent. It seems that the peaceful days of the Tianhan continent won't be long. The sudden appearance of the heaven and earth anomaly is indeed not a good omen. It seems that troubled times are coming. Recalling Sima Xiong's words from before, Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. His expression became somewhat tense as he said, I still have to speed up my cultivation. Otherwise, once the heavenly demons invade the Tianhan demon clan, I won't even have the ability to protect myself. Since I lost track of Murong Qingyu, I can only continue to advance towards the Qifeng Mountain. Chapter 9-10. The Western Continent was a desert. The origin energy of heaven and earth in the air was thin, so the cultivation environment was harsh. Therefore, as Qingyun approached the Western Continent, he found that the strength of the sects here was getting weaker and weaker. A few days ago, Qingyun encountered a sect that didn't even have a transcendent realm expert. Regardless of whether it was in the 9 Divine Mountains or even in the entire province, such a force would be at the bottom of the hierarchy. From this, it could be seen how harsh the cultivation environment in the Western Continent was. After passing through this forest, the Qifeng Mountain is in front. Looking at the endless forest, Qingyun smiled faintly. His body turned into a stream of light and continued forward. After more than a month of hurrying, he was finally only 1 mountain away from the Qifeng Mountain. I wonder how Qi Lian and the others are now. Has the Qingyun Palace been settled in the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain? Thinking of what he told Qi Lian and the others a month ago, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but worry. After sorting out his mood and discarding the distracting thoughts in his heart, Mo Qingyun flew towards the chiefing mountain wholeheartedly. Roar! A beast roar resounded through the sky. In front, 4 martial artists of Heavenly Dipper Realm Cultivation Base were chased by a huge demon wolf with wings, and they were flying towards him at top speed. Friend, leave this place quickly. This wind-winged, green-faced wolf is very strong. The 4 people saw Mo Qingyun in front of them. The leader, who was in his 30s, kindly reminded Mo Qingyun. Disciples of the Fogpool sect? Seeing the clothes on these people, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Mo Qingyun had some impression of this Fogpool sect. This was a sect that was attached to the Heavenly Pool sacred mountain in the past. In this desolate place, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but have a strange feeling when he met the disciples of the sect that was attached to the Heavenly Pool sacred mountain in the past. This feeling was like meeting an old friend in a foreign land. It was very emotional. Mo Qingyun naturally would not stand idly by since he had encountered the disciples of his former sect. He decided to lend them a hand. The cultivation of these 4 people wasn't high. Among them, the one with the highest cultivation was at the early Heavenly Dipper Stage 9. He was the one who warned Mo Qingyun earlier. As for the other 3, 2 of them were at the mid-stage of Heaven Dipper Stage 8, while one was at the peak of Heaven Dipper Stage 7. Generally speaking, if the 4 of them went out to train together, as long as they didn't encounter any divine tier experts, they wouldn't be in any danger. It was obvious that the 4 of them were unlucky to encounter a wind-winged green-faced wolf at the late stage of the first level of the Transcendent Art. This wind-winged green-faced wolf had a strange appearance. It had the body of a wolf, the wings of an eagle, and the face of a human. It was like a hybrid of many races. Friend, that wind-winged green-faced wolf cultivation has already reached the late stage of the first level of the Transcendent Art. It's not something that you and I can fight against. Quickly run for your life. Seeing that Mo Qingyun wasn't moving at all, that person had an instructive expression on his face. He then reminded Mo Qingyun, "Our sect is 100 miles ahead. We have a mid-stage Transcendent Art Elder in our sect. As long as we return to the sect, we will be safe." Seemingly worried that Mo Qingyun would be arrogant and prepare to fight with the wind-winged green-faced wolf, this person reminded Mo Qingyun again. However, Mo Qingyun was still unmoved by his words and stood at the same spot. Seeing this scene, the 4 of them revealed a regretful expression. They shook their heads helplessly and didn't say anything else. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's unwillingness to listen to their advice probably boded ill rather than well. A Transcendent Art Realm monster beast already possessed a high level of intelligence. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was being chased by it, he actually didn't immediately turn and run for his life. The wind-winged green-faced wolf was instantly enraged, as if its dignity had been challenged. Roar! The wind-winged green-faced wolf roared angrily and leapt into the air, turning into a green blur as it pounced at Mo Qingyun with extreme speed. As the wind-winged green-faced wolf pounced, the claws on its 4 limbs emitted dazzling rays of cold light that shook one's soul. Not good. He really intends to fight the wind-winged green-faced wolf. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the leader of the 4 frowned and said, "This wind-winged green-faced wolf was lured here by us. Let's go lend him a hand." With that, this person didn't hesitate any longer and turned to rush towards Mo Qingyun, wanting to join forces with Mo Qingyun against a common enemy. Seeing their senior brother's actions, the other 3 hesitated slightly before also turning to fly towards Mo Qingyun. When the 4 turned, Mo Qingyun, who hadn't moved all this time, suddenly had a red halberd in his hand. After taking out the scorching flame halberd, Mo Qingyun's body turned into a flaming meteor as he rapidly charged towards the wind-winged green-faced wolf. Friend, retreat quickly. Careful. Don't. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the 4 revealed nervous expressions and hurriedly warned Mo Qingyun. Roar! Seeing the puny practitioner in front of it advancing instead of retreating in the face of its powerful attack, the wind-winged green-faced wolf was instantly enraged. As the wind-winged green-faced wolf howled, the shadow of a green beast appeared above its body. It was a monster with antlers, a horse's face, cow's hooves, and a donkey's tail. Transcendent treasure elephant. This wind-winged green-faced wolf has actually cultivated a transcendent treasure elephant. Not only that, this transcendent treasure elephant is ranked in the top 1,000, the ancient mutant for odd beasts. It's over. With the strength of this wind-winged green-faced wolf, it can probably fight against a mid-stage, second-level transcendent power expert. Seeing the shadow above the wind-winged green-faced wolf, the four people's faces turned pale and their eyes flashed with intense reluctance. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun was dead for sure in the face of this wind-winged green-faced wolf's attack. However, the next scene was indeed far beyond their expectations. Pucci! A deep sound rang out as the transcendent treasure elephant was instantly defeated and dissipated under Mo Qingyun's halberd. After defeating the transcendent treasure elephant, the scorching flame halberd's attack didn't decrease in power as it instantly struck the wind-winged green-faced wolf's head. Crack! Under the impact of the scorching flame halberd, the wind-winged green-faced wolf skull was instantly crushed as blood and brain matter spurted out. Oh, letting out a miserable cry. The wind-winged green-faced wolf's aura rapidly dissipated as its body fell from mid-air to the ground. One halberd. The wind-winged green-faced wolf, a mutated demonic beast that had cultivated a transcendent treasure elephant and could fight against a mid-stage, second-level transcendent power expert, was killed by the young man in front of them just like that. A person at the peak of Heaven Dipper Stage 8 actually had such shocking battle prowess. This was simply beyond the four people's expectations. 3-kill prodigy. No, his true strength might be even stronger. He might even be able to kill quadruple. Hiss, what a terrifying person. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of them, the four people's faces were filled with shock and couldn't accept this reality for a long time. The cultivation environment near the Western continent was harsh. It was rare for a prodigy to be able to fight against someone with a higher cultivation level. How could the four of them not be shocked when a quadruple kill prodigy suddenly appeared? You guys are disciples of the Fogpool sect? Chapter 9:11. I am Wang Quan. This is my junior sister, Sun Waner. My two junior brothers are Hao Ping and Qin Kun. Wang Quan was flattered by Mo Qingyun's question. He hurriedly responded to Mo Qingyun and asked curiously, "Brother, are you also a disciple of the sect near the Mingfeng mountain range?" In Wang Quan's opinion, Mo Qingyun was able to recognize them because he was a disciple of the sect near the Mingfeng mountain range and was more familiar with the Mispon sect. I am Mo Qingyun. I'm just passing by. I am not a disciple of a sect nearby. I have some connections with the Mispon sect, so I can recognize the clothes of the Mispon sect's disciples. Mo Qingyun shook his head and gave a simple explanation. He asked with a puzzled expression, "If I remember correctly, the Mispon sect was built on the Heavenly Pool sacred mountain. Why did you move to the Mingfeng mountain range at the edge of the Western continent?" Wang Quan and the other three revealed dejected expressions when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They sighed and said, "Brother Mo, you don't know. 80 years ago, Pil, Sovereign Gucci died, and the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain was destroyed by 3 supreme sections. We, the subordinate sects of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, were either forced to submit to the 3 great sacred mountains or moved to escape the disaster. As we fled, we were unfortunately separated from the other branches. We had no choice but to come here to take refuge. The Western continent was desolate. Under normal circumstances, disciples of large sects disdained to come here. It was a good choice for the Mispon sect to come here to take refuge." "I see." Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding when he heard Wang Quan's words. He understood why the Mispon sect was here. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before revealing a curious expression. He looked at Wang Quan and asked, That's right. How did you provoke that windowing green-faced wolf? It's like this. The four of us were originally training in the Mingfeng mountain range and accidentally came across a yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. Who knew that this yin-yang myriad thunder fruit was guarded by a demonic beast? What happened next is what you saw. Wang Quan smiled bitterly. He clearly still felt ashamed of being chased by the windowing green-faced wolf. Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. When Mo Qingyun heard this, his expression immediately became excited. He asked Wang Quan, "Brother Wang, since this windowing green-faced wolf has been killed, are you going to pick the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit again?" If he could obtain the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit, he would be able to cultivate the thunder origin to the extreme and save a lot of time. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was thinking that after he obtained the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit, he would use other items to exchange with Wang Quan and the others. Hearing this, Wang Quan hesitated and said, "Brother Mo, you don't know, but when we were running for our lives, we alarmed many powerful demonic beasts. If we go back now, we may be besieged by a large group of demonic beasts." So that's how it is. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently. After pondering for a while, he said to Wang Quan, "How about this? You tell me where the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit is, and I will go into the Mingfeng mountain range to pick it. When the time comes, we will divide it equally. How about that?" Hearing Mo Qingyun say this, Wang Quan was silent for a while. Then he gritted his teeth and said to Mo Qingyun, "The Mingfeng mountain range is occupied by demonic beasts. Brother Mo, you are new here. If you go alone, you may provoke powerful demonic beasts. It is better for us to go together. When the time comes, we can take care of each other. In that case, let's go together." Hearing Wang Quan's words, Mo Qingyun did not object and nodded in agreement to Wang Quan's decision. Then, Wang Quan and the other three followed Mo Qingyun to the location of the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. Wang Quan and the other three were very familiar with the Mingfeng mountain range. With the four of them leading the way, Mo Qingyun's group of five soon arrived at the valley where the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit grew. This valley was a low-lying basin. At the bottom of the basin, there was a type of pitch-black stone that contained a trace of the power of lightning. This is the land of lightning penalty? Seeing the situation in front of him, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly shocked. He could guess the reason for the formation of this terrain. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, if there were no accidents, this basin should have been formed by some almighty person undergoing a tribulation here. As for the power of lightning within these stones, it should have been left behind in these stones after the tribulation lightning struck, causing these stones to mutate. Brother Mo, there are many demonic beasts in this thunderous valley. Next, you must follow closely behind us. Do not wander around. Wang Quan instructed Mo Qingyun with a solemn expression after leaving this basin. Okay. Mo Qingyun nodded and did not say anything else. He just silently followed behind Wang Quan and the other three. As Mo Qingyun followed Wang Quan and the other three, he did not forget to release his soul power to sense the surrounding environment. After sensing for a while, Mo Qingyun understood why Wang Quan was so nervous. This was because in this basin, there were indeed many demonic beasts with intermediate transcendent powers. Of course, these demonic beasts were not much of a threat to Mo Qingyun, but to Wang Quan and the other three, it was completely different. There was no other way. The four of them were not like Mo Qingyun, who had the ability to fight against demonic beasts that were several levels higher. Hiss! A huge brown demonic snake was hiding among the fallen leaves, silently approaching Wang Quan and the others. This demonic snake's movement was very quiet, so it was not discovered by Wang Quan and the others. Soon, the distance between them was shortened to only a few hundred meters. For a huge creature that was dozens of meters long, a few hundred meters was already a dangerous area. It was within its attack range. However, this demonic snake was obviously very intelligent. It was not in a hurry to attack Wang Quan and the others. Instead, it continued to hide among the fallen leaves, waiting for Wang Quan and the others to come closer so that it could find a more suitable opportunity to attack. Of course, Although this demonic snake was hidden from Wang Quan and the others, it could not escape from Mo Qingyun's soul power. Wait a minute. Noticing the huge demonic snake in front of them, Mo Qingyun looked ahead and raised his hand to stop Wang Quan and the others. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wang Quan and the others were puzzled. They wanted to ask Mo Qingyun, but before they could speak, they saw Mo Qingyun turn into a shadow and attack the demonic snake. Mo Qingyun's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, the scorching halberd was in front of the demonic beast. Hiss! Faced with Mo Qingyun's attack, the demonic snake immediately raised its head and flicked its red tongue towards the scorching halberd. That was close. Thank goodness Brother Mo was here. Otherwise, we would be in danger again. Looking at the huge creature that was over 10 meters long, Wang Quan and the others trembled again. A lingering fear rose in their hearts. Although this demonic snake was not strong, it was still a transcendent realm existence. It was not something that the few of them could deal with. Chapter 9:12. This demon snake was slightly weaker than the wind-winged green-faced wolf, as it had not cultivated the remarkable treasure elephant. In this way, it would be even easier for Mo Qingyun to kill it. Puchi. Against the scorching halberd's attack, the demon snake's mouth was instantly destroyed and half of its head exploded. Roar! Under Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, the demon snake screamed and turned to flee. It did not dare to continue fighting with Mo Qingyun. Presumably, it had also realized that the gap between it and Mo Qingyun was too great. It was definitely not a match for Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun obviously would not let it go. He moved and chased after again. In a few flashes, Mo Qingyun caught up with the fleeing demon snake and stabbed the scorching halberd into its weak spot. Puchi. The moment the scorching halberd pierced the demon snake's weak spot, a shocking amount of fire elemental energy exploded and surged into the demon snake's body. Under the impact of the fire elemental energy, the demon snake immediately rolled its body and let out a low cry. After a while, the demon snake stopped writhing and the smell of roasted meat came from its body. One attack, and the remarkable realm demon snake was dead. Seeing this scene, Wang Quan and the rest were shocked again. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. Although this demon snake was not as strong as the wind-winged green-faced wolf, its body was huge and it was more difficult to deal with. Let's go. Seeing the shocked faces of Wang Quan and the rest, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and signaled for them to continue leading the way. Brother Mo, wait. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to continue, Wang Quan hurriedly called out to him. He quickly walked to the demon snake's side and said, "This stone demon snake has some uses for me. I want to collect its blood, gallbladder, bones, and skin to refine pills. Let me cut up the demon snake's body." With that, Wang Quan did not hesitate and immediately cut up the stone demon snake's body. Sun Wanner and the others no longer hesitated when they saw Wang Quan cutting up the rock spot demon snake's carcass. Seeing the actions of Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly stunned, and a rueful expression appeared on his face. Thinking back to all those years ago, when he just stepped onto the Tao of pill refinement, he was like Wang Quan and the others, frequently cutting up the bodies of some demon beasts to gather pill refinement materials. The Mist Pool sect was not only a vassal sect of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, but it was also an alchemy sect. As disciples of the Mist Pool sect, it was natural for Wang Quan and the others to act like this. Although the stone spot demon snake wasn't very strong, some of its body parts could be used to refine a Tier 1 king pill. However, the body of the stone-spotted demon snake was too big. Given the speed at which Wang Quan and the others were cutting it, it would take them a long time to completely separate it. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He walked to the side of the stone-spotted demon snake and squatted down, preparing to help Wang Quan cut up the stone-spotted demon snake's carcass. Squatting down beside the stone-spotted demon snake, Mo Qingyun took out a small silver knife and began to cut up the stone-spotted demon snake's carcass. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wang Quan's face was filled with gratitude. He hurriedly advised Mo Qingyun, "Brother Mo, you've already helped me kill the stone-spotted demon snake. Let us do the dirty work of cutting up the stone-spotted demon snake's carcass." Before Wang Quan could finish his words, his entire body was petrified, and he stood rooted to the ground in a daze. Not only Wang Quan, but Sun Wanner and the others also stood rooted to the ground in a daze when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. Mo Qingyun was a pill venerate in his previous life. Naturally, when it came to something as trivial as cutting up the carcass of a demonic beast, his movements were as smooth as flowing water. Under Mo Qingyun's command, every cut of the silver knife was just right. Not only was the meat cut out, but the skin and bones of the snake were not damaged at all. Mo Qingyun's smooth and perfect knife skills shocked Wang Quan and the others. This was something that they had not expected. In their opinion, even the elders in the sect who were good at harvesting would not be as good as Mo Qingyun's knife skills. "Brother Mo, you?" After a short moment of shock, Wang Quan's eyes widened as he looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief. Seeing the expressions of Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun quickly understood what they were thinking. He smiled faintly and said, "I am also an alchemist, and I am best at cutting up the carcasses of various demonic beasts to harvest the ingredients in their bodies." In order to not shock Wang Quan and the others too much, Mo Qingyun casually made up an excuse to dispel their doubts. "I see." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Quan and the others' shock lessened a little, but their eyes were still full of disbelief. Perhaps in their opinion, even if Mo Qingyun was an alchemist, with Mo Qingyun's age, it was too shocking for him to have such a knife skill. About 15 minutes later, under Mo Qingyun's all-out attack, the carcass of the stone-spotted demonic snake was finally cut up by the 5 of them. "Brother Mo, your knife skill is really superb. I can't believe that even with the 4 of us combined, we can't even reach half your speed." Seeing that the carcass of the stone-spotted demonic snake was cut up, Wang Quan's face revealed a joyful smile as he spoke to Mo Qingyun in admiration. "Actually, you're already very proficient in your techniques. It's just that when you cut up the carcass, you lack some technique." In response to Wang Quan's words of admiration, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand. He said, "In the future, when you cut up the carcass of a demonic beast, you can first release your spiritual energy to sense the structure of the demonic beast body. If you are familiar with the structure of the demonic beast body, it will be much easier to cut up the carcass." "I see." Hearing Mo Qingyun's advice, Wang Quan and the others' eyes lit up, and a sense of realization rose in their hearts. Then, the few of them looked at Mo Qingyun with a strong sense of gratitude. This seemingly insignificant advice, to them, was simply a wake-up call, allowing them to instantly find the trick. "Okay, let's continue on our way." Seeing that everything was ready, Mo Qingyun did not want to delay any longer and urged Wang Quan and the others. "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Quan's expression turned serious as he led the way in front. On the following journey, Mo Qingyun and the others encountered a few more waves of demonic beasts. However, they were all killed by Mo Qingyun. Because the carcasses of these demonic beasts had no value in alchemy, Wang Quan and the others did not cut up the carcasses any further. 15 minutes later, under the guidance of Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun and the other 4 arrived at the foot of a cliff. The cliff was filled with all kinds of spiritual herbs. Among them, there were some that were decades old, some that were close to 100 years old, and some that were hundreds of years old. Unfortunately, the value of these spiritual herbs was not high. They were all common ingredients for alchemy. Glancing at the cliff in front of him, Mo Qingyun's attention was attracted by a black and white spiritual herb. In the middle of this spiritual herb, there was a black and white spiritual fruit. This was the yin-yang infinite thunder fruit. It really is the yin-yang infinite thunder fruit. Looking at the yin-yang infinite thunder fruit growing on the cliff, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with a bright smile, and he became somewhat excited. Chapter 9:13. Yin-yang million thunder fruit. Looking at the black and white spirit fruit growing on the cliff, Wang Quan and the rest were excited and wanted to pick it. Wait a minute. Seeing Wang Quan and the rest's actions, Mo Qingyun frowned and quickly stopped them. He said in a deep voice, "There's an even more terrifying demonic beast in the crack of the cliff. It's not something you can fight against." Wang Quan and the rest's expression changed. They were obviously surprised by Mo Qingyun's words. "Don't move first. I'll lure that guy to the side. Then you guys can find a chance to pick the Yin-yang million thunder fruit." Mo Qingyun said to Wang Quan and the rest. His body floated in the air and flew towards the top of the cliff. As Mo Qingyun approached the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit, a black figure crawled out from the crack next to the fruit with extreme speed. It was a giant scorpion covered in black scales. It had two huge silver pincers and a silver venomous sting on its tail. Reckless Thunder, Silver, Turtle Scorpion. A level 4 divine power realm, Reckless Thunder, Silver, Turtle Scorpion. With the strength of this Reckless Thunder, Silver, Turtle Scorpion, it's definitely not something we can fight against. We're in trouble now. I didn't expect a Yin-yang million thunder fruit to be guarded by so many powerful demonic beasts. It's really not easy to get a heaven and earth spirit treasure. Looking at the 5-meter-long body of the huge black scorpion, whose scales were like iron walls, Wang Quan and the rest turned pale. Compared to the panic of Wang Quan and the rest, Mo Qingyun's face was calm. There wasn't the slightest fluctuation of emotion on his face. Although a level 4 divine power realm, Reckless Thunder, Silver Turtle Scorpion was a little troublesome to deal with, it was just a little troublesome. If he were to go all out, he would still be able to wipe them out. Tap, tap. The Reckless Thunder, Silver Turtle Scorpion walked along the cliff. Its claws knocked on the stone wall, making crisp sounds. This giant scorpion was very fast. It arrived in front of Mo Qingyun in the blink of an eye and leaped towards Mo Qingyun. When this giant scorpion attacked Mo Qingyun, its two huge silver pincers emitted a dazzling dim light as it tried to clamp down on Mo Qingyun's head. The demonic shadow, traceless, like a shadow. Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless in the face of the scorpion's attack. He hurriedly dodged the scorpion's attack. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was retreating, the Reckless Thunder Silver Turtle Giant Scorpion didn't stop attacking. It followed closely behind Mo Qingyun, waving its silver stinger to stab at Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's dodging speed increased by a few notches as he pushed his shadow, following to the extreme. Next, Mo Qingyun kept dodging while luring the scorpion away from the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. After a while, the distance between the scorpion and the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit was close to 1,000 meters. Mo Qingyun said to Wang Quan in a deep voice, "Wang Quan, you guys go and pick the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. I'll stall this giant scorpion." "Oh, okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's reminder, Wang Quan and the others were startled. They started to pick the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. Seeing Wang Quan and the others' actions, the Reckless Lightning Silver Turtle Scorpion immediately gave up on chasing Mo Qingyun and went to deal with Wang Quan and the others who were picking the Yin-yang thunder fruits. Seeing that the giant scorpion was going to chase after Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun's expression became serious. He held the scorching flame halberd and stabbed at the giant scorpion. Crack! Under the impact of the scorching flame halberd, the giant scorpion's carapace was directly cracked, and cracks like a spider web appeared. After these cracks appeared, drops of dark green blood flowed out, which looked a little disgusting. After its carapace was pierced by Mo Qingyun's halberd, the giant scorpion was furious. It immediately turned around and attacked Mo Qingyun, ignoring Wang Quan and the others who were picking the Yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. Seeing that the giant scorpion was attacking him, Mo Qingyun smiled with satisfaction. He turned around and led the giant scorpion away again. He planned to find a secluded place to kill the giant scorpion in case some of his trump cards were exposed. Although Wang Quan and the others were not a threat to him, it was always good to be careful. It's about time. After a while, seeing that he was far away from Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and was ready to kill the giant scorpion. Sealed door. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, a mini-light door condensed in his hand and blasted toward the giant scorpion. The sealed door was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it blasted into the giant scorpion's body. After being hit by the sealed door, the giant scorpion's aura instantly fell to the level of level 3 divine powers. I'll use you to test the power of the colorless sword. Looking at the giant scorpion whose cultivation had fallen, Mo Qingyun replaced the scorching flame halberd with the colorless sword with an expectant look on his face. In Mo Qingyun's hand, the colorless sword immediately bloomed a dazzling red color and emitted an amazing power of fire origin. Seeing that Mo Qingyun did not continue to escape, the giant scorpion jumped up, and its two huge silver pincers clamped toward Mo Qingyun. Slash! In the face of the giant scorpion's attack, Mo Qingyun did not retreat. Instead, he attacked with the colorless sword in his hand. Clang! The colorless sword hit the giant scorpion's pincers. Immediately, sparks bloomed and a crisp sound was heard. However, the giant scorpion's pincers were not shattered by the colorless sword's attack. When the sword landed on the giant scorpion's pincers, a shocking rebounding force immediately rebounded on the colorless sword, causing Mo Qingyun to stagger back again and again. When Mo Qingyun was forced to step back, the giant scorpion was not in a good condition either. It was also sent flying. Hiss! Seeing that it was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's sword, the giant scorpion was furious and let out a low growl. Following that, the silver turtle scorpion's pincers and stinger burst out a shocking lightning. Seeing that the giant scorpion had unleashed all of its combat power, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious, and he no longer held back. Blood Qi Rampage. Under the effect of the martial soul superpower, Mo Qingyun's aura immediately entered the quasi-divine realm. After increasing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun did not hold back anymore. He held the colorless sword and slashed forward. 5 origins in 1. As he slashed out, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue lights of 5 different colors, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, turned into a 5-colored sword light with a surging aura. After the 5-colored sword light was slashed out, it set off a sword light storm and blasted toward the giant scorpion. Gotcha! Facing the 5-colored sword light, the giant scorpion could not resist at all. It was instantly smashed into pieces. Clang! 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 Meanwhile, the sound of battle entered Mo Qingyun's ears while he was killing the colossal lightning silver turtle scorpion. What's going on? Did Wang Quan and the others get attacked by demonic beasts? Chapter 9:14. Wang Quan, if you know what's good for you, hand over the yin-yang thunder fruit. That's right. Spiritual objects like the yin-yang thunder fruit are not something you can have. There's a limit to our patience. Don't throw away your lives for a spirit item. As Mo Qingyun approached Wang Quan and the others, his complacent words came into Wang Quan's ears one after another. Wu Xian, don't go too far. Don't think that you could do whatever you want just because your Jianhua school has climbed up the sky sword mountain. Hearing the other party's domineering words, Wang Quan angrily replied, Also, I want to make it clear to you that this yin-yang 10,000 thunder fruit does not belong to us. We are only looking after it for someone else. In Wang Quan's opinion, if it were not for Mo Qingyun's full effort, they could not get the yin-yang thunder fruit with their ability. Moreover, along the way, they also got a lot of benefits from Mo Qingyun. Therefore, in their opinion, the yin-yang thunder fruit should belong to Mo Qingyun. Humph! Wang Quan, do you think I'm an idiot? How can you tell such a lie? After hearing Wang Quan's words, Wu Xian snorted coldly. With a gloomy expression, he said impatiently, Today, I don't care who the yin-yang thunder fruit belongs to. I want it. Now I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. If you don't take the initiative to hand it over, I have to take it myself. 10, 9, 8. Wu Xian counted down indifferently. At this moment, before Wu Xian finished his words, Mo Qingyun came to Wang Quan and the others. Brother Mo, you're back. Wang Quan immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression when he saw Mo Qingyun arrive before them. He hurriedly passed the yin-yang myriad lightning fruit to Mo Qingyun and said, "Fortunately, you returned in time. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to keep this yin-yang myriad lightning fruit." Mo Qingyun did not say anything when Wang Quan handed over the yin-yang thunder fruit. He directly put it into his chinquan bag. Who are these people? After putting away the yin-yang thunder fruit, Mo Qingyun glanced at Wu Xian and the others indifferently and asked Wang Quan about their backgrounds. "Mr. Mo, these people are disciples of the Jianhua sect." Seeing Mo Qingyun asking about the origins of Wu Xian and the others, Wang Quan introduced them. He then pointed at Wu Xian and said, "This person is at the late stage of the first level of supernatural power. He is the chief disciple of the Jianhua sect, Wu Xian. He once comprehended the earth origin to perfection and is very powerful. To be able to cultivate the earth origin source to perfection, you do have some ability. However, that's all." Hearing Wang Quan's description to Wu Xian, Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently and said with a calm expression, "How is the strength of the Jianhua school? What is the difference in strength between the Mist Pool sect and the Mist Pool sect?" "The Jianhua sect isn't very strong. They're only slightly stronger than our Fog Pool sect. However, when talking about the strength of the Jianhua sect, Wang Quan and the others revealed a depressed expression. Wang Quan paused for a moment to calm himself down before he continued. "However, the Sword Splendor sect has recently established ties with the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain and has received great support from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. As a result, their disciples have become more and more overbearing and arrogant." "I see." After hearing Wang Quan's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a general understanding of the situation of the Jianhua sect. He did not expect the Jianhua sect to be an affiliated force of the Sky Sword Mountain. It was indeed a small world. "Lad, now you should know how powerful the Jianhua sect is. If you know what's good for you, hand over the yin-yang thunder fruit." After hearing Wang Quan's introduction of the Jianhua sect, Wu Xian showed an arrogant expression and threatened Mo Qingyun. His current appearance was like a condescending emperor, insufferably arrogant as he commanded his subjects. However, Mo Qingyun did not take Wu Xian's order seriously. He replied coldly, "If you want to snatch it, just do it. Cut the crap. I will stand here and wait for you to snatch it from me." Who was Wu Xian? He was the first disciple of the Jianhua sect. Under normal circumstances, everyone who saw him would be respectful and obedient to his words. However, a lad in the Heaven Star Border Stage 8 actually dared to talk to him in this manner. This was not something he could tolerate. "Lad, you are courting death," Wu Xian shouted angrily. His expression turned ferocious, and he was about to teach Mo Qingyun a lesson. "Senior Brother Wu, there is no need for you to deal with a lad in the Heaven Star Border Stage 8. Just as Wu Xian was about to make a move, a quasi-transcendent realm cultivator beside him stepped forward. "All right." Seeing that the quasi-transcendent realm cultivator wanted to teach Mo Qingyun a lesson for him, Wu Xian nodded with a gloomy expression and instructed, "Li Fan, don't kill that lad yet. I want to capture him alive and torture him slowly later." "Got it." Li Fan nodded and replied. He turned to look at Mo Qingyun and took out a black saber. He sneered and said, "Lad, this saber of mine has not been stained with blood for a long time. Today, I will use your blood to awaken it." After Li Fan finished his words, he held the black saber in his hand and slashed it towards Mo Qingyun. The third style of the slash of gods and demons, heaven's destruction and earth's destruction. As Li Fan slashed his saber, a black saber radiance instantly exploded from the saber in his hand. As soon as the black saber radiance appeared, the color of heaven and earth changed, showing a gloomy and oppressive scene. Seeing Li Fan make a move, Wang Quan and the others' expressions changed. They were extremely worried. The slash of gods and demons, Li Fan. Li Fan is only slightly weaker than Wu Xian. I wonder if Brother Mo can defeat him. Everyone is saying that if Li Fan breaks through to the transcendent realm, his strength might surpass Wu Xian's. He is more talented than Wu Xian. A few days ago, I heard that Li Fan only used 10 moves to defeat a Transcendent Realm Level 1 expert. At that time, he had not mastered the third move of the Slash of Gods and Demons. This, for a moment, Wang Quan and the others' expressions were solemn as they voiced out their concerns. Junior Brother Li is indeed the #1 genius of the Jianhua sect. He has actually mastered the Slash of Gods and Demons to such an extent. Seeing Li Fan make a move, Wu Xian's face was filled with admiration. He sighed and said, "With Junior Brother Li's current strength, even if I want to defeat him, I will need to use at least 80% of my strength." Junior Brother Li, kill that lad in one move. That's right. Junior Brother Li, kill that lad and show him the power of the Jianhua sect. For a moment, the other disciples of the Jianhua sect cheered for Li Fan. While the disciples of the Jianhua sect were cheering for Li Fan, Emo Qingyun raised his right hand slightly and held the scorching halberd in his hand. Chapter 9:15. Sky-breaking halberd of heavenly flames. Emo Qingyun stabbed out with his halberd. Around his body, a dazzling flame bloomed, and the momentum was overwhelming. At this moment, the originally darkening sky was gradually replaced by crimson flames, dyeing the entire world red. Bang, bang, bang. Under the impact of the heat wave, the surrounding grass and trees were instantly ignited, making a series of crackling sounds. At the same time, a red dragon shadow halberd radiance burst out from the scorching halberd and went to meet the black dragon saber radiance. Bang! After the two dragon shadows, one red and one black, collided with each other, an astonishing loud noise suddenly broke out. However, under the impact of the red halberd radiance, the black dragon saber radiance was quickly shattered and turned into black fireballs that fell down, as gorgeous and dazzling as fireworks. After the red dragon shadow halberd radiance shattered the black dragon saber radiance, its attack speed did not decrease and instantly hit Li Fan. Bang! Under the bombardment of the red dragon halberd radiance, Li Fan's body was directly swallowed, and he was forcefully sent flying for nearly a kilometer. In the process of Li Fan's body flying backward, towering ancient trees were broken one by one, startling a large number of birds and beasts. Li Fan was defeated. With only one move, Li Fan, who could fight with an expert at the first level of the magical power realm, was defeated without any resistance. This scene really shocked Wu Xian and the others. This guy's strength is actually so strong. Seeing that Li Fan was sent flying by Emo Qingyun with one move, Wu Xian's expression suddenly became dignified, and he put away his contempt for Emo Qingyun. He thought that even if he used all his strength, he could not defeat Li Fan in such an overwhelming manner. Junior fellow apprentices, this guy's strength is not weak. Let's deal with him together. After a short pause, Wu Xian did not say anything more and opened his mouth to tell the people behind him. Demon Bone Sword, Thorn of Earth Dragon, a long sword carved from dragon bones, in Wu Xian's hand, emitted a yellow luster and burst out a gloomy and demonic momentum. As Wu Xian waved his sword, a powerful primordial energy mixed with the complete origin of Earth condensed into a dragon bone-like long sword, which blasted toward Emo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. When the bone sword shadow blasted towards Emo Qingyun, it also emitted waves of dragon's might, suppressing Emo Qingyun's mind. When Wu Xian attacked, the other disciples of the Jianhua school did not hesitate and attacked Emo Qingyun one after another. Suddenly, the light of swords and the shadows of swords, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. All kinds of powerful attacks bombarded Emo Qingyun. Facing these astonishing attacks, Emo Qingyun's expression turned serious. The blazing halberd in his hand was also replaced by the colorless sword. The moment the colorless sword landed in Emo Qingyun's hand, it emitted red, yellow, and blue rays of light. It was as beautiful as a blooming flower. After the 3 rays of light bloomed, they turned into a tricolored sword light in the shape of a half-moon and blasted forward like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. Wherever the tricolored half-moon sword light passed, the grass, trees, and boulders were instantly split into two. There was no vibration at all. Three types of origin perfection. So powerful. Seeing Mo Qingyun's sword, Wu Xian and the others' expressions suddenly changed. Their expressions were filled with intense fear. The strength that Mo Qingyun displayed at this moment was far beyond his expectations. It was something that he had never thought of before. Wu Xian was considered one of the top geniuses in the Jianhua school. Even so, his origin of Earth had reached the level of perfection after his cultivation had broken through to the divine realm. Mo Qingyun was only at the peak of Heaven Dipper Realm 8, but he had comprehended three types of origin perfection. His comprehension ability was too terrifying. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Wu Xian and the others did not dare to be careless. They all tried their best to resist. However, their resistance was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. In an instant, they were defeated by the tricolored sword light. Bang, bang, bang. Under Mo Qingyun's sword, the people from the Jianhua school were directly sent flying and fell to the ground like dumplings. Puff, puff, puff. After Wu Xian and the others landed, they felt something sweet in their throats. They spat out mouthfuls of blood, and their faces turned pale. Then, they looked at Mo Qingyun without the previous arrogance in their eyes. There was only intense fear and horror. Judging from the strength that Mo Qingyun displayed, Mo Qingyun was very likely to be a quadruple kill genius, or even a quintuple kill genius. 4. Quadruple kill. No, he might be a quintuple kill genius. Wu Xian and the others' minds went blank. They felt that their brains were not enough to process the situation. They did not know what kind of monster they had encountered. Under normal circumstances, those who could fight someone one level higher than them were considered geniuses in the school. Those who could fight someone 3 levels higher than them were the top geniuses in the school. They were almost invincible among those with the same cultivation. Mo Qingyun actually had the strength to fight someone 5 levels higher than him. In Wu Xian's experience, he had never seen such a situation before. After sending Wu Xian and the others flying with one sword, Mo Qingyun showed an indifferent expression and walked toward them step by step. You don't come over. I tell you, the Jianhua school is nearby. As long as I shout, they will come to save us. Looking at the approaching Mo Qingyun, Wu Xian showed a frightened expression and threatened Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun did not take his words seriously at all. He sneered and said, "Really? Then you shout now. Call the elders of the Jianhua school to come here." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Xian suddenly deflated and did not know what to do. His words just now were just to scare Mo Qingyun. Although the Jianhua school was not far from here, he could not call for help by shouting. Shout! Seeing that Wu Xian hesitated and did not speak, Mo Qingyun shouted angrily with an indifferent expression, and a chill was emitted from his body. Sensing the chill from Mo Qingyun, Wu Xian's expression suddenly changed, and his body trembled violently. "Help! Master! Help!" Wu Xian shouted, but his voice was too low, as if he had not eaten for several days. "You don't even have the courage to ask for help. You don't deserve to kill and rob." Looking at Wu Xian's cowardly appearance, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said indifferently, "Since you can't find anyone, I have to send you to hell." Brother, no. Master, I was wrong. Please spare my life." Seeing that Mo Qingyun wanted to kill him, Wu Xian was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He hurriedly begged Mo Qingyun. However, Mo Qingyun directly chose to ignore his begging and waved the colorless sword in his hand. Puff! A sword radiance flashed and directly left a deep sword mark on Wu Xian's neck, from which a cloud of bright red blood sprayed out. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, Wu Xian widened his eyes and fell to the ground in disbelief. After killing Wu Xian, Mo Qingyun's expression was cold as he turned to look at Li Fan and the others. Chapter 9:16. "You come over here." Glancing at the people of the Jianhua sect, Mo Qingyun's eyes finally fell on Li Fan, and he waved his hand at him. "Ew, what are you doing?" Seeing Wu Xian's death just now and hearing Mo Qingyun call him by name, Li Fan suddenly showed a horrified expression. He was scared. He was afraid that he would be killed here by Mo Qingyun's decisive attack, just like Wu Xian. He was the #1 genius of the Jianhua sect and had a bright future. He even had the chance to enter the Sky Sword Mountain to cultivate. He did not want to die here. He did not want to die like this. No, no. At the thought of what would happen to him, Li Fan's face was filled with horror as he shook his head continuously. At the same time, his body was also trembling and slowly moved backward. "Get over here." Seeing Li Fan moving backward, Mo Qingyun's face suddenly darkened. He raised his hand and grabbed the void. Then, a shocking original energy burst out from Mo Qingyun's palm and turned into a huge original energy palm. It grabbed Li Fan's head and lifted him in front of him. After grabbing Li Fan in front of him, Mo Qingyun took out the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit and threw it in front of Li Fan. He said, "The Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit is here. Pick it up." "No, no, I don't dare. I won't dare to do it again." Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Li Fan was immediately shocked and quickly shook his head. What a joke. Just now, they were almost beaten to death by Mo Qingyun because they wanted to snatch the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit. Now, Mo Qingyun asked him to pick up the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit. It was obvious that he wanted to kill him. He would not pick up the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit unless there was something wrong with his head. Seeing Li Fan's action, Mo Qingyun's expression became even colder. He said coldly, "Just now, didn't you keep clamoring for me to hand over the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit? Now that I've taken it out, why don't you dare to pick it up?" Li Fan was speechless and did not know how to answer this question. His expression was filled with helplessness and fear. He was certain that if he dared to reach out, his hand would be chopped off in an instant. Seeing this scene, Wang Quan and the others were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. At this moment, in the hearts of Wang Quan and the others, they finally understood the definition of overbearing and arrogant. What was tyrannical? What was arrogance? This was true dominance. This was true arrogance. Didn't you want to snatch my Yin-Yang Myriad Thunderfruit? Now, I'll throw the Yin-Yang Myriad Thunderfruit on the ground and let you guys snatch it as you wish. But do you dare to snatch it? Do you dare to snatch it? The answer was obvious. Li Fan and the others didn't dare. They didn't even dare to look at the Yin-Yang Infinite Thunder Fruit on the ground. Wang Quan and the others felt their blood boil. They looked at Mo Qingyun with fervent gazes. "Brother Mo, you're too domineering, too mighty. If I could be as mighty as Brother Mo for once in my life, I wouldn't have lived in vain. He's so handsome. If he could dote on me for a night, it would be worth it even if I died." Wang Quan and the others were agitated. They couldn't calm down for a long time. Under the gaze of Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun saw Li Fan's cowardly look. His expression turned cold as he said coldly, "You didn't even dare to pick it up when it was placed there for you to pick it up. With your cowardly look, you dare to steal from others?" Bang! After saying that, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else. He grabbed Li Fan's head and crushed it domineeringly. Li Fan was dead. The #1 genius of Jianhua sect was also dead. Seeing this scene, the remaining people of Jianhua sect were scared witless. They knelt down and kowtowed to Mo Qingyun. "Master, we were wrong. Please spare us. We won't do it again. No, from today onwards, I'll abandon evil and embrace good. I'll leave Jianhua sect immediately. I'll join Five Pool sect now and work for them wholeheartedly." In an instant, all sorts of pleas and expressions of loyalty reached Mo Qingyun's ears. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, while everyone was pleading for mercy, a series of fierce footsteps came from the depths of the forest. "Not good. Brother Mo, your fight just now seemed to have alerted the mammoth herd." Sensing the violent footsteps, Wang Quan's face was filled with fear. He hurriedly said to Mo Qingyun, "Brother Mo, not only do the mammoths have strong physiques, Each of them has reached the intermediate level of god power. They're not something we can fight against. Let's leave this place quickly. All right. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun nodded and left with Wang Quan and the others. Although Mo Qingyun was very confident in his own strength, he wasn't arrogant enough to think that he could challenge a herd of mammoths. As for the Jianhua sect survival, Mo Qingyun didn't care about them and left them to fend for themselves. Don't leave us behind. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the other four leaving, the Jianhua sect's people changed their expressions and begged for mercy. However, before they could finish their words, a wave of billowing dust swallowed them up. After the Jianhua sect's people were swallowed up by the cloud of dust, the mammoths didn't stop and continued to chase after Mo Qingyun and the other four. Just like that, a tug-of-war of pursuit began. 15 minutes later, Mo Qingyun and the others finally arrived at the outskirts of Mingfeng Mountain Range. Quick, quick, quick! As long as we leave Mingfeng Mountain Range, the mammoth herd won't continue to chase after us. Seeing that they had arrived at the outskirts of the mammoth herd, a faint smile appeared on Wang Quan's face, and his tense expression relaxed a little. After a while, Mo Qingyun and the other four finally left Mingfeng Mountain Range. Brother Mo, where do you plan to go next? Seeing that the five of them had finally escaped from the mammoth herd, Wang Quan revealed a smile of relief and asked Mo Qingyun about his plans. I plan to find a place to refine the yin-yang infinite thunder fruit. In response to Wang Quan's question, Mo Qingyun didn't try to hide anything and directly told him his plan. After hearing Mo Qingyun's plan, Wang Quan pondered for a while and said to Mo Qingyun, Brother Mo, the few of us are preparing to make a trip back to the sect. Why don't you come to our fog pool sect? When the time comes, I can arrange a place for you to focus on refining the yin-yang myriad thunder fruit. All right. After hearing Wang Quan's words, Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile and agreed to Wang Quan's suggestion. Coincidentally, he could also go to the fog pool sect to take a look and see how the fog pool sect was doing now. From the fact that the fog pool sect didn't turn to other godly mountains, it could be seen that the fog pool sect was still very loyal to the heavenly pool mountain. If possible, Mo Qingyun hoped to protect the fog pool sect. Chapter 9:17. Tianjin Mountain. A young man with a broken arm with a gloomy expression walks slowly to Tianqi, sacred mountain, with a chill all over his body. Who are you? Stop. Tianqi Sacred Mountain is not a place where a waste like you can enter. Seeing the young man with a broken arm approaching, the guarding disciple of Tianqi Sacred Mountain glared at the young man with a broken arm and shouted, Waste. Hearing the words of the guarding disciple, the young man with a broken arm immediately looked ferocious and said gloomily, You are courting death. After that, the young man with a broken arm raised his left hand and directly choked the neck of the guarding disciple. Senior brother Fang Yuan. After seeing the appearance of the young man with a broken arm, the two guarding disciples were frightened and sweated on their foreheads. They really didn't expect that the young man with a broken arm in front of them was actually the genius of Tianjin Mountain, Fang Yuan. Senior brother Fang Yuan, please forgive us. We didn't mean it. Thinking of their words just now, the two guarding disciples panicked and hurriedly begged Fang Yuan. Crack! Fang Yuan directly chose to ignore the disciples begging for mercy and crushed his throat bone with his hand. After killing the guarding disciple, Fang Yuan continued to walk into Tianqi Sacred Mountain with a gloomy expression. On the way, other disciples saw Fang Yuan with a gloomy expression. They all showed a look of awe and dodged aside. As long as they were not fools, they could see that Fang Yuan was in a bad mood now. It was better not to provoke him. If you want to find trouble with him at this time, it would be as if you were an old man who was tired of living and wanted to hang himself. What's wrong with senior brother Fang Yuan? Why is his right arm broken? Hush! Keep your voice down. Don't let senior brother Fang Yuan hear you. Otherwise, you will end up like junior brotherly Wei. By the way, isn't senior brother Iron Wing with junior brother Fang Yuan? Why didn't I see senior brother Iron Wing come back? Looking at Fang Yuan walking away, other disciples in the Tianjin Mountain whispered. After a while, Fan Yuan walked into the conference hall of Tianjin Mountain under the gaze of everyone. At this moment, Li He was not in the main hall. There were only a few elders and a few personal disciples in the main hall, discussing something. Junior brother Fan Yuan, what happened to you? Seeing Fan Yuan walk into the hall, everyone in the hall was shocked and couldn't believe that it was true. Fan Yuan, the super genius of the Tianjin Mystic Mountain and the personal disciple of the sword master Li He, had one of his arms destroyed. This kind of thing was really hard for them to accept. It was not as simple as seriously injuring Fan Yuan, but a slap in the face of the Tianjin Mountain. Junior brother Fan, who cut off your right arm? Tell me, and I'll get revenge for you immediately. That's right. Since he dared to injure the people of my Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, I will definitely flatten his sect. It would appear that we've been immersed in the Heavenly Lake Sacred Mountain for too long. Everyone has forgotten what happened to the Heavenly Lake Sacred Mountain back then. For a while, several senior fellow apprentices of Fan Yuan all showed gloomy expressions and said words full of killing intent. Li Shi, Yun Hao, Lu Yu, Zheng Kun, calm down first and let Fan Yuan tell you what happened. Looking at the actions of the people below, an old man showed a solemn expression and motion to them. This old man was Liao Xinghe, the Grand Elder of the Tianjin Mystic Mountain. His cultivation had reached the level of Junior Venerable, and his status in the Tianjin Mystic Mountain was second only to Li He. Yes, Grand Elder. Hearing Liao Xinghe's words, Li Shi and others showed a look of awe. They nodded and walked to the side to sit down. Fan Yuan, tell us what happened. Seeing that Li Shi and others stopped talking, Liao Xinghe turned to look at Fan Yuan and said in a serious tone, Yes. Fan Yuan nodded respectfully. He suppressed the anger in his heart and said in a deep voice, This is what happened. On that day, Iron Wing and I went to find Mo Qingyun together. Unexpectedly, after we found Mo Qingyun in Kanglan City, Iron Wing, a heartless guy, betrayed the Tianjin Mystic Mountain and chose to submit to Mo Qingyun. Because he chose to submit to Mo Qingyun, I fought with Mo Qingyun. Next, Fan Yuan told everyone what had happened that day with exaggeration. At this moment, in Fan Yuan's heart, he resented Iron Wing to the extreme. What? Senior fellow apprentice Tai betrayed the Tianjin Mystic Mountain and submitted to Mo Qingyun? Senior fellow apprentice Tai is the top talent of our Tianjin Mystic Mountain. How could he be willing to submit to a guy with the cultivation of Heaven Gang Realm? Junior fellow apprentice Fan, is there any misunderstanding? How could senior fellow apprentice Tai betray the sect? Hearing Fan Yuan's words, everyone still felt incredible and didn't want to believe it was true. This news was too unexpected and sudden for them. Could it be that my severed arm is fake? Hearing everyone's words, Fan Yuan asked them angrily. Everyone was silent for a while and didn't know how to refute. After all, Fan Yuan's broken arm was true. At this moment, when everyone was talking, a word without emotional fluctuation came into everyone's ears. Fan Yuan, come to my residence. I have something to tell you. Yes, master. After hearing this, Fan Yuan nodded and answered. Then he got up and left the conference hall. Near the Mingfeng mountain range, Mo Qingyun left the Mingfeng mountain range and quickly returned to the Misty Pool sect. However, Mo Qingyun and others didn't go far before a man covered with blood blocked their way. Friend, please send this jade slip to the Misty Pool sect. Seeing Mo Qingyun approaching in front of him, the young man was in a trance and handed a jade slip to Wang Quan. After saying that, the young man fainted. His breath was weak, and he might die at any time. Senior fellow apprentice, Jiang Wei. It's senior fellow apprentice, Jiang Wei. Looking at the man covered with blood in front of him, Wang Quan was shocked. He quickly helped the man up and woke him up. Then he asked, Senior fellow apprentice Jiang Wei, what's wrong with you? What happened? Junior fellow apprentice Wang Quan. Go to save junior sister apprentice Song, Sui Mei, and others. They were besieged by the Chixing Hall and the Flying Cloud League. Seeing Wang Quan in front of him, the young man showed an excited expression and said an urgent sentence. Senior Sister Apprentice Song Sueme, aren't they guarding the blood jade mine of the sect? Hearing the young man's words, Wang Quan and others were shocked and said angrily, "The guys of the Chixing Hall and the Flying Cloud League went too far. They even joined hands to rob the resource mine of our Misty Pool sect." Junior Sister Apprentice Wan you and Junior Fellow Apprentice Chin Kun take Senior Fellow Apprentice Jiang Wei back to the sect first. After knowing what happened, Wang Quan told Sun Wan and Chin Kun. Then he turned to look at Mo Qin Yun and asked, "Brother Mo, the resource mine of our Misty Pool sect is in a critical situation. You are powerful, so I beg you to help us. Let's go." Mo Qin Yun did not refuse Wang Quan's request and nodded indifferently. "Thank you." Chapter 918. Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, outside a simple and crude cave. "Master," after Fong Yuan left the conference hall, he came here directly. He stood outside the cave residence and saluted respectfully. "Come in." An indifferent voice came from within the cave. The tone was still as calm as an ancient well. Hearing the words, Fong Yuan slowly walked into the cave residence. He walked to a middle-aged man who was not angry and sat down cross-legged. Seeing that Fong Yuan came to him, the middle-aged man's eyes suddenly widened, and there was a flash of sharpness in his eyes. This middle-aged man was naturally the owner of Tianjian Mountain, Sword Master Li He. Glancing at Fong Yuan in front of him, Li He began to check his wound. The more he looked, the more he frowned. Several kinds of perfect origin power. With Li He's eyesight, he could naturally see what kind of attack Fong Yuan's wound had suffered. After checking Fong Yuan's wound, Li He became silent. His expression began to be hesitant, as if he was thinking about something. Seeing that Li He didn't speak, Fong Yuan didn't dare to speak. He waited silently. For a while, the two people in the cave didn't speak, which made the atmosphere in the cave a little depressing. After a while, Li He seemed to make a decision. He raised his hand and took out a black jade box. He handed it to Fong Yuan and said, "There is a right arm of an ancient alien powerhouse. I got it in the depths of the Tianling tomb. It contains extremely amazing bloodline power. If you can integrate it, it will not only become your new right arm, but also let you get the bloodline power of the ancient powerhouse." Li He paused for a moment before continuing. "However, the bloodline power contained in this right arm is far too terrifying. Even with my cultivation, I don't dare to refine it rashly. If you want to fuse with it with your cultivation, I'm afraid you'll only have a slim chance of survival. As for what you want to do, you should consider it. I want to integrate the arm of this ancient alien powerhouse." Hearing Li He's words, Fong Yuan made a decision without hesitation. Seeing Fong Yuan's decision, Li He nodded with relief and said, "In this case, you can practice in seclusion with me in the following time." "Yes." Fong Yuan picked up the black jade box, got up, and walked into the cave. He entered a stone room and began to practice. Seeing Fong Yuan's action, Li He did not say anything more. He did not ask about the iron wing from beginning to end. A moment later, miserable screams came from the stone room. It seemed that Fong Yuan was integrating the arm of the ancient four-powerhouse. Mingfeng Mountain Range, Blood Jade Mine. After an hour of hurrying, Mo Qin Yun and the other two finally arrived. Roar, roar, roar. A series of ferocious roars came from the interior of the mine, causing the ground to shake continuously. What's going on? Why are there demonic beasts howling in the Blood Jade Mine? Hearing the deafening cries, Wang Quan's expression turned grave as he spoke worriedly. Then, Wang Quan sped up and rushed into the mine. Seeing Wang Quan quickly walk into the Blood Jade Mine, Mo Qin Yun did not hesitate and quickly followed behind him. Soon, tall and powerful demonic beasts with ferocious faces appeared in front of Mo Qin Yun and the other two. At this moment, these demonic beasts were attacking some disciples of some sections. Judging from the clothes of these disciples, they seemed to come from 4 different sections. Senior Sister Apprentice Song. Soon, Wang Quan found the people of the Fog Pool sect among the 4 groups of people and rushed towards them. senior sister apprentice Song, who was mentioned by Wang Quan, was not weak. She had reached the peak of the first level of the magical power and was the strongest among the disciples of the Fogpool sect. At this time, she was fighting with a demonic beast that looked like a swordback dragon. It was hard to tell who was the winner. However, judging from Song Tsume's weak pneuma, she could not hold on for a long time. Junior fellow apprentice Wang Quan, why are only 3 of you here? Looking at Wang Quan, who came to her side, Song Tsume showed an anxious expression and asked Wang Quan, didn't junior fellow apprentice Jiangnan ask the elders for help when he returned to the sect? We met senior fellow apprentice Jiangnan on the way, so he didn't have time to report back to the sect. Wang Quan gave a simple explanation to Song Tsume's question and took out his battle axe to fight with the demonic beasts. He said, Senior sister Song, I've already asked junior fellow apprentice Sun Wanner and junior fellow apprentice Qin Kun to escort senior fellow apprentice Jiang Lan back to the sect. I believe that the sect elders will come to save us soon. Hearing Wang Quan's words, the nervous expression on Song Tsume's face relaxed a little. At this moment, while everyone was fighting with the demonic beasts, Mo Qingyun looked at the demonic beasts with astonishment. Demonic beasts? It seems that the passage between the Demon Road and the Heavenly Soul Continent has been broken through. I just don't know where that passage is. Thinking that the demons of the Demon Road would invade the Heavenly Soul Continent in the near future, Mo Qingyun's heart became heavy. In the Demon Road, there were a total of 4 great demonic cultivators. They were sky demons, human demons, demonic beasts, and demonic beasts. Sky demons were native cultivators of the demon race. They were born with the bloodline of the demon race and cultivated demonic attacks to increase their cultivation. Human demons were cultivators who cultivated demonic arts and went berserk. They were cultivators who lost their minds and became murderous demons through and through. Demonic beasts were naturally demonic beasts that lost their minds. They were the same as human demons and only knew how to kill. But compared to human demons, demonic beasts were generally weaker. They were basically killing machines of the Demon Road. As for demonic beasts, they were the most special kind of existence. They were the descendants of the demon race and cultivators. They had the talents of both humans and demons. They were the most dangerous kind of existence and were extremely terrifying. After sweeping his eyes over the mine, Mo Qingyun frowned. He felt a strong aura coming from the bottom of the Blood Jade mine. After discovering this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He immediately instructed Wang Quan. Wang Quan, have the disciples of the Mist Pond sect follow me closely. I'll bring you all out of here. Otherwise, I'm afraid that a big problem will appear. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Quan nodded and said to Song Tsume, senior sister Song, all of you follow brother Mo closely. He'll bring us out of here. Him? Hearing Wang Quan's words, Song Tsume revealed a shocked expression. She felt that it was hard to believe. In Song Tsume's opinion, with her cultivation at the peak of the first level of the Transcendent Realm, she was unable to deal with these demonic beasts. With Mo Qingyun's cultivation at the peak of the 8th level of the Heaven Dipper Realm, wanting to bring them out of the encirclement was a little too unrealistic. After a short moment of shock, Song Tsume's expression turned serious. She said in a deep voice, Junior brother Wang Quan, these demonic beasts are extremely terrifying. We must not be careless. Let's find a corner and hold on together while waiting for the sect elders to rescue us. Chapter 919. Before Song Tsume could finish her sentence, her mouth was agape. She could not believe what she was seeing. Mo Qingyun held a colorless longsword in his hand. With a casual swing of his sword, he slashed out streaks of 3-colored sword light with a threatening aura. When the 3-colored sword radiance was sent out, it killed all the demonic beasts in front of it. Soon, Mo Qingyun's path was cleared. There were no more demonic beasts blocking the way. Let's go. After clearing the demonic beasts, Mo Qingyun reminded Wang Quan and the rest with a serious look on his face. He then rushed forward. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Quan and the rest did not dare to hesitate. They quickly followed behind Mo Qingyun. Then, with Mo Qingyun leading the way, they rushed out of the Blood Jade Mine. As for the disciples from the other sects, Mo Qingyun did not bother about them. He left them to fend for themselves in the Blood Jade Mine. Seeing Mo Qingyun killing the demonic beasts, Song Tsueme and the rest were shocked. They could not believe what they had just seen. How could a Heaven Dipper 8th level cultivator possess such terrifying strength? At this moment, she finally understood why Wang Quan believed that Mo Qingyun could lead them out of the Blood Jade Mine. After a while, with Mo Qingyun leading the way, they finally arrived outside the Blood Jade Mine. Oh no, it's too late. When they arrived outside the Blood Jade Mine, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He hurriedly instructed Wang Quan and the others. Wang Quan, quickly take everyone away from here. A powerful existence is about to emerge. What about you? Song Tsueme blushed slightly as she asked Mo Qingyun with a concerned expression. I'll hold that guy back. You guys leave quickly. In response to Song Tsueme's words, Mo Qingyun revealed a grave expression and told her his plan. I'll stay and help you. Hearing Mo Qingyun's plan, Song Tsueme bit her lip and a determined expression appeared on her face. No need. Mo Qingyun rejected Song Tsueme's words without any hesitation. He continued, the dangers around the Mingfeng mountain range are unknown. It might not be safe for Wang Quan and the others to return to the Mistpool sect. You should return with them and protect them along the way. All right. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Song Tsueme didn't say anything else. She nodded and said to Mo Qingyun, you be careful too. With that, Song Tsueme led Wang Quan and the others back to the Mistpool sect. Bang, bang, bang. Not long after Song Tsueme and the others left, a series of noises came from underground, causing the ground to shake. After this series of noises, the shaking of the ground became more and more violent, causing the surrounding rocks to tumble and vegetation to collapse. Bang! With a loud bang, the nearby Blood Jade Mine collapsed, and a blood-red figure flew out from it. Kakik, this old man is finally free. After flying out of the Blood Jade Mine, the blood-red figure let out a carefree laugh and said, Moon River Emperor, did you think that you could trap this old man forever with such a small array? Little did you know that this old man used the power of the array to create blood jade ores in the surroundings, causing those greedy cultivators to come and mine the blood jade ores, weakening the power of your array bit by bit. The blood-red figure stood in the air and muttered to himself for a long time, as if he was venting the depression in his heart. After a while, the blood-red figure retracted his aura and sneered at the devil beast below. He said, Brats of the Back Dragon Clan, you did well this time. Today, you saved this old man. In the future, this old man will bestow upon your clan a great fortune. This is bad. I didn't expect a great demon to be sealed at the bottom of the Blood Jade Mine. Looking at the blood-red figure in the air, Mo Qingyun frowned and felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Just as Mo Qingyun was feeling uneasy, the blood-red figure above turned his head and looked at Mo Qingyun. He sneered. A Heaven Dipper Stage 8 kid actually didn't run away after seeing this old man. Interesting. This old man hasn't tasted blood for tens of thousands of years. Today, I'll use your blood to let this old man have a taste. Sizing up Mo Qingyun below, the blood-red figure revealed a cold smile. He turned into a bloody light and pounced at Mo Qingyun. So fast, seeing the bloody light flash by, Mo Qingyun's expression changed and a sense of shock rose in his heart. The traceless demonic shadow followed him like a shadow. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hesitate. 8 afterimages appeared behind him and dodged the blood-red figure's attack. Under Mo Qingyun's traceless demonic shadow, he finally managed to dodge the blood-red figure's attack by a hair's breadth. What an exquisite inherited martial art. I didn't expect you to be so capable. Seeing that his attack was dodged by Mo Qingyun, the blood-red figure let out a cry of surprise. After a short moment of surprise, the blood-red figure moved again and chased after Mo Qingyun. He smiled faintly and said, "Kid, you can't escape from this old man's palm. You'd better obediently become this old man's delicious meal." This old monster. I wonder how long he's been sealed. To think that he still has such a dense blood chi. Sensing the tyrannical aura behind him, Mo Qingyun's mood became even heavier. He began to think of a way to deal with it. He thought to himself, this old monster has just broken through the seal. Right now, he only has the cultivation of the 7th layer of the divine ability realm. I must take advantage of the fact that his cultivation hasn't recovered to think of a way to get rid of him. Otherwise, once his cultivation recovers, it will be difficult for me to get rid of him. After thinking like this, Mo Qingyun didn't plan to hesitate any longer. He planned to use the transportation gate to get rid of the other party's pursuit. However, just as Mo Qingyun was about to use the transportation gate, a familiar, beautiful figure appeared in front of him. After seeing this beautiful figure, Mo Qingyun's expression suddenly changed. His mood became even worse. That's right. The beautiful figure that appeared in front of Mo Qingyun was Murong Qingyu, who was lost by Mo Qingyun not long ago. Why is she here? Looking at Murong Qingyu in front of him, Mo Qingyun began to hesitate in his heart. He was considering whether to use the transportation gate to leave or not. Mo Qingyun was very clear in his heart. Once he used the transportation gate to leave, this blood-red figure would definitely chase after Murong Qingyu. I didn't think that I would actually meet a little girl from the Heavenly Demon Clan in the Heavenly Soul Continent. It seems that this old man's luck is really not bad. When Mo Qingyun saw Murong Qingyu, this blood-red figure also saw her. He immediately spoke a sentence of pleasant surprise. Human demon. A human demon who has recovered his consciousness. After seeing that blood-red figure, Murong Qingyu's expression suddenly changed greatly. Her expression revealed a hint of fear. According to her understanding of human demons, only after their cultivation reached the sovereign realm would human demons slowly recover their consciousness. Chapter 920. After a short moment of hesitation, Mo Qingyun made a decision in his heart. He wasn't going to use the teleportation gate to leave. Murong Qingyu, I'll hold this old monster back. You leave this place quickly. After making a decision, Mo Qingyun stopped and turned his head to look at Shuang not far away. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Murong Qingyu's expression produced a trace of emotion. It seemed like he was surprised, disdainful, and touched. Am I very familiar with you? Why do I need you to protect me? Towards Mo Qingyun's good intentions, Murong Qingyu directly said those cold words and rejected Mo Qingyun's good intentions. Seeing Murong Qingyu's reaction, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but be startled. A bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. From the looks of it, it seemed like he was thinking too much. Murong Qingyu didn't appreciate his kindness at all. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything else. He looked at Shuang with an indifferent expression. When Mo Qingyun looked at Shuang, he could clearly feel that Shuang's aura was getting stronger bit by bit. Not long ago, Shuang's aura was only at the early stage of the 7th level of the divine ability realm. Now it was almost at the peak of the 7th level of the divine ability realm. From the looks of it, it wouldn't take long for Shuang to break through to the middle stage of the 7th level of the divine ability realm. This can't go on. I have to beat Shuang back as soon as possible. Sensing Shuang's aura getting stronger, Mo Qingyun made a decision in his heart. He wasn't willing to delay any longer. Sealed gate. After deciding to fight Shuang, Mo Qingyun didn't think too much and directly used the sealed gate. From Mo Qingyun's point of view, holding back at this moment was no different from courting death. A mini light gate condensed in Mo Qingyun's hand and blasted towards Shuang. A mantis trying to stop a chariot, Shuang said disdainfully as he looked at the sealed gate that was blasted towards him. He casually waved his hand towards the sealed gate. In his opinion, with his cultivation at the 7th level of the transcendent realm, It would be a piece of cake for him to defeat the attack of a brat at the 8th level of the Heaven Dipper realm. However, the result was clearly out of his expectations. The sealed door was not that easy to break. Poochie. In the face of Blood Shadow's elemental energy blasts, the door of seals directly penetrated it and blasted into Blood Shadow's body. When the sealing door entered Blood Shadow's body, it could seal his blood, chi, and soul, and begin to weaken Blood Shadow's cultivation. Not long after, Blood Shadow's aura weakened from God Power Tier 7 to God Power Tier 6. How could this be? What kind of divine ability is this? Sensing that his blood chi and soul were being suppressed, even the powerful Blood Shadow couldn't help but let out a panicked cry. He had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, but this was the first time he had encountered a method that could seal someone's cultivation. Miss Moron, let's do it. After unleashing the sealed door, Mo Qingyun nodded to Murong Qingyu and swung the colorless sword at Blood Shadow. Seeing Mo Qingyun's signal, Murong Qingyu frowned slightly and revealed an unwilling expression. It was as if she didn't want Mo Qingyun to have a tacit understanding with him. After pondering for a short while, she still took out a black longsword and decided to deal with Blood Shadow together with Mo Qingyun. Murong Qingyu clearly knew that now wasn't the time to throw a tantrum. Blood Shadow wasn't someone she could deal with alone. 5 origins as one. Mo Qingyun swung his sword, and the colorless sword instantly blossomed with a 5-colored radiance, releasing a shocking aura. Then a 5-colored crescent-shaped sword radiance burst out from the colorless sword and shot toward the Blood Shadow at an extremely fast speed. 5 types of origin energy at perfection. What a terrifying comprehension ability. Where did this brat come from? Could he be a reincarnated person? Seeing Mo Qingyun's attack, Murong Qingyu and Blood Shadow were extremely shocked and said a shocking sentence. After a short moment of shock, Murong Qingyu calmed down and swung his black longsword at Blood Shadow. Demonic Phoenix Sword Art. Demonic Phoenix touches water. Murong Qingyu's figure moved and arrived above Blood Shadow. He continuously stabbed with the longsword in his hand. Murong Qingyu waved the black longsword and slashed out streaks of dark sword radiance. It was like a torrential rain of pear blossoms as it blasted towards Blood Shadow. I didn't expect that after being sealed for 10,000 years, a prodigy like you would appear in the Tianhan continent. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Murong Qingyu's attack, Blood Shadow said a sentence of surprise. He also counterattacked and blasted out several palms in succession. Blood Demon Heavenly Scripture, Sacrificial Blood Golden Wheel. After Blood Shadow blasted out several palms, a blood-colored golden wheel formed in front of him and started to spin at an extremely fast speed. As the golden wheel spun at an extremely fast speed, a huge blood-colored black hole formed in the center of the golden wheel and produced a terrifying devouring power. Under this devouring power, the 5-colored sword radiance was instantly swallowed up. It almost didn't have the slightest bit of resistance. Not only that, when the 5-colored sword radiance was swallowed up, facing the devouring power of the blood-colored golden wheel, Murong Qingyu found it difficult to maintain his balance and began to fly towards the blood-colored golden wheel. Not good. Seeing Murong Qingyu's situation, Mo Qingyun's expression suddenly changed and became dignified. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived beside Murong Qingyu. He grabbed Murong Qingyu's waist. Demonic Shadow, Traceless followed like a shadow. Taking Murong Qingyu into his embrace, Mo Qingyun used all of his strength to activate Demonic Shadow Traceless and took Murong Qingyu to break away from the blood-colored golden wheel. With the help of Mo Qingyun, after breaking away from the blood-colored golden wheel, Murong Qingyu struggled free from Mo Qingyun's embrace. A faint crimson color appeared on his cheeks. Seeing Mo Qingyun break away from the blood-colored golden wheel with Murong Qingyu, Shui-Ing let out a bewildered sound. He sneered and said, "Brat, although you have some ability, you still can't protect this little girl." At this moment, Shui Ying seemed to have discovered that Mo Qingyun was particularly concerned about Murong Qingyu. Blood demon heavenly scripture, blood sacrificial golden wheel, devour. After discovering this trick, he controlled the blood-colored black hole to devour Murong Qingyu. He sneered and said, "Brat, if you don't want this little girl to be devoured, then you can be devoured by my blood sacrificial golden wheel." After seeing Shui Ying's action, Murong Qingyu's charming face slightly changed. She unconsciously looked towards Mo Qingyun. When she carefully looked at Mo Qingyun, a strand of strange feeling involuntarily sprouted in her heart. It seemed familiar yet strange. In addition, what made Murong Qingyu feel disbelief was that in her heart, there seemed to be some longing for Mo Qingyun. How can this be? After this strange feeling appeared, Murong Qingyu's heart was puzzled. She didn't understand the reason. Then, Murong Qingyu silently looked at Mo Qingyun. She wanted to see what Mo Qingyun would do. Chapter 921. Old Monster, you're not the only one who knows how to devour. Under Murong Qingyu's gaze, Mo Qingyun revealed a mocking smile, and his expression turned cold. "Devouring gate, devour for me." After saying that, Mo Qingyun used the devouring gate to resist the devouring power of the bloody black hole. Then, the devouring power of the devouring gate and the bloody golden wheel formed a stalemate. "Miss Murong, kill that old monster." Mo Qingyun used the devouring gate and reminded Murong Qingyu to deal with Shuang. "All right." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Murong Qingyu nodded and charged toward Shuang. Shuang was controlling the bloody golden wheel with all his strength and had no time to deal with Murong Qingyu. Looking at the approaching Black Phoenix sword light, Shuang didn't dare to delay and immediately gave up on maintaining the sacrificial blood golden wheel. Blood Demon Palm. Facing Murong Qingyu's sword, Shui Ying raised his hand and blasted out a palm to dissolve Murong Qingyu's sword. When Shui Ying dissolved Murong Qingyu's sword, a lot of blood qi in his body was devoured by the devouring gate. As the blood qi was devoured, the aura emitted from Shui Ying's body weakened again. "Brat, you're going too far." Thinking that he, a dignified sovereign realm expert, was actually bullied by two Heaven Realm juniors, Shui Ying became furious. Even if he was only at God Realm level 7, this wasn't something he could accept. "I Light Blade." Mo Qingyun didn't care about Shui Ying's anger and directly used the I Light Blade. The I Light Blade was extremely fast and caught Shui Ying off guard. Before Shui Ying could react, he was hit. Pucci. A brilliant blood mist burst out from the blood shadow, dyeing a small part of the sky red. Being hit by the I Light Blade, Shui Ying's light weakened again and roared, "Brat, I'm going to tear you into pieces, peel your skin, and pull out your tendons to vent the hatred in my heart." Demonic heart devouring. However, before Blood Shadow could attack Mo Qingyun, a tyrannical sound wave blasted towards him. Being struck by the sound wave, Blood Shadow immediately paused. He shrieked out miserably and furiously said, "You damned brats, I'm going to eat you alive." Primordial Demonic Sound Pipa Talisman. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's sound wave attack had caused great damage to the Blood Shadow, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and took out the immemorial Demonic Sound Pipa Talisman. Wong. As the talisman of the Primordial Demonic Sound Pipa was summoned, waves of demonic sound waves erupted from it and bombarded the Crimson Shadow. After being hit by the ancient demonic Pipa's talisman, Shuang cried out in pain again. He stopped moving forward and said in shock, This is the talisman true body of the Weapon Talisman sect. Kid, why do you have this on you? Could it be that you're the successor of the Weapon Talisman sect?" Based on Blood Shadow's understanding of the Weapon Talisman sect, only the successor of the Weapon Talisman sect could control the talisman true body of the Weapon Talisman sect. Thinking of this, Blood Shadow didn't want to stay any longer. He gritted his teeth and said, "Damned brat, this old man will remember you." After spitting out these venomous words, Blood Shadow turned into a bloody light and instantly disappeared into the horizon. Seeing that Blood Shadow was repelled, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed a lot. He raised his hand and put away the primordial demonic sound Pipa talisman. Who exactly are you? When Mo Qingyun put away the primordial demonic sound Pipa talisman, Mo Qingyun revealed a puzzled expression and asked Mo Qingyun, "Why do I feel like I've met you before? Also, is the Han Yin you mentioned before?" Hearing Murong Qingyu's words, Mo Qingyun bitterly smiled. He didn't know how to answer her. After muttering to himself for a moment, Mo Qingyun's expression became more serious. He said to Murong Qingyu, "This matter is a bit troublesome to explain. I can only tell you that you and my fiancé look exactly the same. Perhaps there is some relationship between the two of you. Let's go." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Murong Qingyu nodded her head in understanding. She turned around and was about to leave. "Where do you want to go?" Seeing that Murong Qingyu was about to leave, Mo Qingyun instinctively took a step forward and inquired about Murong Qingyu's plans. "Stop." Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Murong Qingyu waved the long sword in her hand and slashed out a sword ray to stop Mo Qingyun. She said indifferently, "Although I look like your fiancé, there is no relationship between you and me. If you want to use the reason that I look like your fiancé to pester me, I will kill you without hesitation." After saying that, Murong Qingyu left behind a cold and beautiful figure and disappeared in front of Mo Qingyun's eyes. Seeing Murong Qingyu's action, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but shake his head. A feeling of helplessness rose in his heart. This woman was really cold. Looking at Murong Qingyu's back, Mo Qingyun let out a deep breath and secretly sighed. The Tianhun continent is becoming more and more chaotic. It seems that I have to hurry up and increase my cultivation. First, I need to find a place to refine the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit. After thinking like this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. His figure moved and left. However, after Mo Qingyun left, he didn't go to the Fog Pond sect. After a moment, Mo Qingyun stopped in a valley. His figure moved and entered the Five Directions Miniature Pagoda. After entering the Five Directions Miniature Pagoda, Mo Qingyun took out the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit and began to refine it. As Mo Qingyun refined the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit, strands of berserk lightning energy were extracted from the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit. After the lightning energy was extracted, it turned into a mysterious power and revolved around Mo Qingyun's body. As the mysterious lightning energy revolved around Mo Qingyun, the Fortune Mountain and River diagram suddenly flew out from his body and floated above him. The Fortune Mountain and River diagram flew above Mo Qingyun and emitted a six-colored light, enveloping Mo Qingyun within. Under the light of the Fortune Mountain and River diagram, the lightning energy that revolved around Mo Qingyun slowly flew to the bottom of the Fortune Mountain and River diagram. It was as if Mo Qingyun was standing on top of a cloud surrounded by lightning, waiting for rain to fall at any time. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the Fortune Mountain and River diagram flying out of his body. After all, something like this had already happened once before. Just like that, Mo Qingyun spent the rest of the time refining the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit. A month later, under Mo Qingyun's continuous refinement, the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit was finally refined by him. It turned into his comprehension of the origin of lightning. After refining the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit, Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the origin of lightning had reached the 7th level. However, Mo Qingyun didn't stop cultivating. Instead, he continued to immerse himself in comprehending the origin of lightning. Although he didn't have the help of the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit, the speed of Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the origin of lightning didn't slow down much. Another 2 months later, the origin of lightning is finally complete. Mo Qingyun, who had been in the midst of cultivation, opened his eyes with a joyful expression and broke away from his cultivation. Chapter 922. Seeing that the creation mountain and river painting had flown into his head, Mo Qingyun released his soul power to sense the changes in the painting. After sensing for a while, Mo Qingyun realized that the world in the creation mountain and river painting seemed to have become bigger than before. The increase in area wasn't the size of the world in the painting. It was the change in the ratio of the world to the real world. It was like buying a doll. The original ratio of the doll to the real person was 1 to 2. Now that it had become a fully simulated version, the ratio had reached 1 to 1. Other than that, Mo Qingyun also realized that there was a layer of silver-gray thunderclouds in the sky above the painting. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He was shocked. It seems that the world in the creation mountain and river painting is becoming more and more complete as I comprehend more and more origin energy. I wonder what the world in the creation mountain and river painting will eventually evolve into. After observing the creation mountain and river painting for a while, Mo Qingyun realized that the strange energy in the painting seemed to be faster than before. He couldn't help but feel happy. At this rate, I might be able to use the Divine Lotus General's true body summoning talisman again in a year's time. Then, Mo Qingyun withdrew his soul power from the creation mountain and river painting with anticipation. My cultivation has been stuck at the peak of Heaven Star Border Stage 8 for a long time. It's time for me to break through to Heaven Star Border Stage 9. After sensing his own cultivation, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate anymore and started to break through his cultivation. Now that Mo Qingyun's cultivation had reached the peak of Heaven Star Border Stage 8, it wasn't difficult for him to break through to Heaven Star Border Stage 9. Boom! As Mo Qingyun's cultivation broke through, a shocking shockwave was produced outside his body and dispersed the surrounding origin energy. Following the breakthrough in his cultivation, Mo Qingyun felt that his strength had immediately increased by a large margin. Now that I'm going to kill the reckless Thunder Silver Turtle Scorpion, I should be able to do it with a few strikes. After breaking through to the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper, Mo Qingyun made a simple assessment of his strength. Next, Mo Qingyun once again entered the state of cultivation and began to stabilize the realm he had just broken through. A few days later, Mo Qingyun, who was in the middle of cultivation, was suddenly awakened by a soul fluctuation and withdrew from his cultivation. This fluctuation is the light gate martial spirit. When he sensed the spiritual undulation, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately summoned his light gate martial spirit. As the light gate martial spirit was summoned, Mo Qingyun saw another mini light gate appear within the light gate martial spirit. This should be a new martial spirit ability that the light gate martial spirit had evolved. I wonder what kind of power this martial spirit has. Looking at this newly formed martial soul ability, Mo Qingyun was filled with anticipation and joy. He couldn't wait to use it. As Mo Qingyun used the new martial spirit ability, a faint light wave burst out from his body and shrouded the entire second floor of the Five Directions small pagoda. After the light wave shrouded the entire second floor of the Five Directions small pagoda, Mo Qingyun found that his perception and control of the second floor of the Five Directions small pagoda had become stronger and easier than before. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the abilities of his new martial soul divine ability. When this new martial spirit ability is used, it seems to transform the surrounding space into a domain space, allowing me to increase my perception and control of the surroundings. After learning about the new martial spirit ability, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and muttered to himself, "If that's the case, this new martial spirit ability shall be named after the domain gate. If I had the domain gate when I fought with Blood Shadow, I would have had a 70% chance of killing him." Seeing that his strength and means had improved, Mo Qingyun revealed a cold expression and a murderous aura exuded from his body. The origin of Blood Shadow was too strong and too mysterious. If he couldn't get rid of it, Mo Qingyun would feel uneasy. This feeling was even stronger than the pressure that Li He, Yi Fei Yang, and Yang Yinfan gave him. After all, he had interacted with Li He and the others in his previous life. He knew the ins and outs of Li He and the others. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy, and you will never be defeated. The unknown was the most terrifying thing. All right, now that my cultivation has broken through to the Heaven Star Border Stage 9, I wonder if I can cultivate the second style of the 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique. Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He revealed a look of anticipation and began to sense the second style of the 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique. After sensing for a while, a majestic memory from the 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique poured into Mo Qingyun's mind. As the information poured into Mo Qingyun's mind, Mo Qingyun began to observe it, digesting and comprehending it bit by bit. 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique, second style. 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands. After observing the cultivation method of the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands. The 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands was divided into 2 different forms of attack, the water form and the ice form. The water form could ignore any kind of attack. Even if it was destroyed or chopped off, it would instantly reform and take shape. As for the ice form, it was indestructible. Ordinary attacks wouldn't be able to harm it at all. So strong. As expected of the second level of the 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique. After reading the description of the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands, Mo Qingyun's expression became excited. He began to cultivate the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands. A shocking amount of yuan power exploded from Mo Qingyun's palm. It slowly condensed into the shape of a palm in front of him. As the yuan power palm was formed, a perfect amount of water origin energy was also slowly added to it. Splash! However, the yuan power palm only lasted for a moment before it collapsed. After the sound of water splashing was heard, it slowly dissipated into the air. Mo Qingyun didn't take the failure of his attempt to heart. He began to practice tirelessly. After a few days, under Mo Qingyun's continuous practice, the second move of the 5 Directions Heaven-Breaking technique, the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands, was finally cultivated to the beginner level. Water form condense. A shocking amount of yuan power blasted out from Mo Qingyun's hand. It carried a perfect amount of water origin energy and quickly condensed into a giant blue hand. Once the giant hand was formed, it emitted a dragon-capturing power under Mo Qingyun's control. It stretched toward the giant rock that was dozens of meters tall. Ice form. The moment the giant blue hand grabbed the giant rock, Mo Qingyun changed the form of the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands. It turned into a snow-white mysterious ice giant palm that emitted a terrifying chill. Bang! At the same time, the giant rock exploded under the strength of the mysterious ice giant palm. It turned into a pile of gravel and scattered in all directions. So strong. Seeing the power of the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon Capturing Hands, Mo Qingyun was instantly surprised and couldn't help but express his excitement. Chapter 923. In the conference hall of the Jianhua sect, several young men in ragged clothes, covered in wounds, were kneeling in the center of the hall. They looked at the middle-aged man in awe. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely recognize these people. They were the disciples of the Jianhua sect who had followed Wu Xian. They did not expect that under the trampling of the mammoths, they could survive and escape back to the Jianhua sect. It had to be said that these people were really tough. The Fodpool sect is getting bolder and bolder. How dare you kill the people of the Jianhua sect? Hearing the reports from the disciples below, the sect leader of the Jianhua sect, Guohua, looked gloomy and said angrily, "Fodpool sect, since you don't know what's good for you, I can only tell the Sword Venerable that you are hiding in the Mingfeng mountain range. I think the Sword Venerable will be very happy after hearing this news." Sect leader, I think we don't need to report this to the Sword Venerable. One of the old men below frowned when he saw Guohua's plan. He said, Sect Master, if the people from the Sky Sword Divine Mountain take action, we won't be able to get a share of the treasures in the treasury after the Mistpool sect is destroyed. Grand Elder Guoling, what do you think? Hearing the elder's words, Guohua felt it was reasonable and asked for his opinion. Seeing Guohua ask him, Guoling pondered for a moment and said in a deep voice, In my opinion, we can join forces with the people of the Crimson Star Hall and the Flying Cloud League to destroy the Fogpool sect. With the strength of the Fogpool sect, they are definitely no match for us. At that time, the treasures in the Fogpool sect's secret vault will be divided among the 3 sections. At this point, Guoling paused for a moment before he continued. Not only that, if the Sword Honorable knows that we've helped him eliminate the remaining members of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, he'll be even happier. He might even reward us. Also, with the relationship between the Janhua sect and the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, even if the Janhua sect gets 10% more, the Crimson Star Hall and the Flying Cloud League will not dare to say anything. At this time, another elder sneered and said something complacent. Haha, not bad, not bad. Guohua smiled brilliantly when he heard what Guoling and the others had said. He laughed aloud. Great Elder Guoling is truly thoughtful. Since that's the case, we'll proceed with the arrangements. While Guohua was briefing the crowd, several people walked into the main hall. Seeing the arrival of these people, Guohua's expression changed involuntarily. He was somewhat surprised by their arrival. At this moment, the few people who walked into the main hall were the Crimson Star Hall Master, Ma Xiulin, and the Flying Cloud Alliance Master, Lu Feiyun. Palace Master Ma, Alliance Master Lu, why didn't the 2 of you inform us in advance so that we can welcome you in advance? Looking at the 2 people who were slowly approaching, Guohua put on a fake smile and smiled fakely at the 2 of them. Sect Leader Guo, you're too kind. Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun waved their hands indifferently at Guohua's hypocritical behavior, and each found a seat to sit down. Cough. Sect Leader Guo, this time, the 2 of us have come to your sect to discuss a matter. After Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun sat down, Ma Xiulin cleared his throat and his expression became serious. He asked, Sect Leader Guo, do you still remember a few days ago when our 3 sects joined forces to snatch the Blood Jade Mine from the Fogpool sect? Of course I remember. It's just a small mine. Why are the 2 of you so nervous? Hearing Ma Xiulin's words, Guohua was puzzled. He did not understand why Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun would have such a reaction. In his opinion, it was a little strange for Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun to be so concerned about a small Blood Jade Mine. Thinking of this, Guohua's expression became serious. He looked at Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun and asked, could it be that there's something wrong with the Blood Jade Mine? Or could it be that the Blood Jade spiritual essence has been birthed? Blood Jade spiritual essence? Hearing this, Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun smiled bitterly and shook their heads. It would be great if the Blood Jade Mine really birthed Blood Jade spiritual essence. Ma Xiulin did not know whether to laugh or cry at Guohua's optimistic thinking. Then, Guohua did not understand. After calming down the helplessness in his heart, Ma Xiulin's expression became serious. He said in a deep voice, not long ago, one of our sect elders saw that the people who went to snatch the Blood Jade Mine had not returned after a long time. He went to the Blood Jade Mine to check on the situation. He found that all the disciples of our 3 sects had died in the Blood Jade Mine. Not only that, we also found a large number of strange demonic beast corpses in the Blood Jade Mine. After hearing Ma Xiulin's words, Lu Feiyun, who was sitting to the side, added with a serious expression, we suspect that those demonic beasts are the culprits that destroyed the nearby sections. Is there such a thing? Guohua's expression suddenly became serious. He realized the seriousness of the matter and remained silent. If what Ma Xiulin and Lu Feiyun said was true, then things would be troublesome. Those demonic beasts were not easy to deal with. In Guohua's memory, some of the sects that were destroyed nearby were not weaker than the Janhua sect. However, after a short moment of silence, Guohua revealed a cold smile. He said, these demonic beasts appeared in the Blood Jade Mine and only killed the disciples of our 3 sections. They did not harm the disciples of the Mist Pool sect. Do you think that these demonic beasts were raised by the Mist Pool sect? Raised by the Mist Pool sect. Hearing this, Ma Xuelin and Lu Feiyun's expressions changed. They did not understand what Guohua meant. Guohua's words clearly did not mean that he was asking them whether those demonic beasts were raised by the Mist Pool sect. He wanted to use this to put a label on the Mist Pool sect and use this opportunity to destroy the Mist Pool sect. Understanding what Guohua was hinting at, Ma Xuelin and Lu Feiyun both smiled coldly. They said, "Sect leader Guo, are you planning to use this as an excuse to directly destroy the Mist Pool sect?" "That's right." Guohua nodded with a cold smile. A glint flashed through his eyes. He said, "If the sect around the Mingfeng mountain range knew that the Mist Pool sect was responsible for the massacre of the other sects, I'm afraid that they would be extremely furious." Haha, sect leader Guo is wise. If that's the case, then the Mist Pool sect will not be able to escape this time. When the time comes, those sects will be the vanguard for us. We only need to take advantage of them. For a moment, Guohua and the other 2 revealed sinister smiles and began to plan. Another few days passed in the 5-directional pagoda. After Mo Qingyun's constant practice, he had finally cultivated the 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon, capturing hands to the initial success level. The 9x9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon capturing hands has been cultivated to the initial success level. I can condense 9 Azure Sea Mysterious Ice Dragon capturing hands at the same time. It's time to leave the 5-directional pagoda. Seeing the results of his cultivation, Mo Qingyun smiled with satisfaction. He thought to himself, "I've already cultivated for over 3 months in the 5-directional pagoda. About 5 days have passed in the outside world. I wonder how the Mist Pool sect is doing right now." Chapter 924. One day later, outside the Fog Pool sect, there were many people from the surrounding sections. These people all showed fierce expressions. In front of these people, there were 3 large groups of people. They were from the Jianhua School, the Crimson Star Palace, and the Flying Cloud League. With the arrival of these people, the sect master and the elders of the Fog Pool sect were all alarmed and came out. "Everyone, why have you mobilized so many people to come to my Fog Pool sect?" Looking at the people in the sky above the Fog Pool sect, Chen Bin, the sect master of the Fog Pool sect, showed a solemn expression and questioned them. The actions of the people from the Jianhua School were undoubtedly a humiliation to the Fog Pool sect. Even if he had a good temper, he could not help but feel a little dissatisfied. "Chun Bin, Wang Quan, and the other disciples of your Fog Pool sect killed Wu Xian and Li Fan from the Jianhua School. Shouldn't you give me an explanation?" In response to Chun Bin's questioning, Guohua did not directly talk about the demonic beasts. Instead, he first questioned him about the killing of Wu Xian and the others. Guohua did this because he wanted to put a big label on Chun Bin and put the Fog Pool sect in a position of being in the wrong. In this way, when they investigated the demonic beasts, they would have the absolute initiative. Hearing Guohua's words, the expressions of Chun Bin and the others changed slightly. With a cold expression, Chun Bin said, "Guohua, the disciples of our Fog Pool sect have always been well-behaved. Don't slander us." Wang Quan and the others had not had time to report that Mo Qingyun had killed Wu Xian and the others. Therefore, Chunbin did not know that Mo Qingyun had killed Wu Xian and the others. "Chunbin, no wonder the disciples of your Fog Pool sect are so bold. It turns out that you connive and cover for them." Looking at Chun Bin's behavior, Guohua pretended to be unhappy and angrily rebuked Chun Bin. Then he said to a disciple behind him, "Wu Zhai's tell the seniors what happened that day, exactly as it happened." "Yes, sect master." Hearing this, Wu Zhai's responded respectfully and began to tell what had happened that day. Of course, what Wu Zhai's told was not the real situation at that time. He had changed it with some embellishments. However, all of this was no longer important at this moment. Now, for the people of the sects, they only needed to know that Wu Xian, Li Fan, and the others were killed by the disciples of the Fogpool sect. Impossible. Wang Quan is just an ordinary inner core disciple. He absolutely has no ability to kill Wu Xian and Li Fan. Wu Xian and Li Fan were both geniuses of the Jianhua school. Chunbin had heard about them and knew their strength. Therefore, he absolutely did not believe that Wang Quan and the others would be able to kill the two of them with their strength. Whether it's true or not, why don't you ask the inner sect disciples to come out and confront them? Won't the truth come out then? Guohua seemed to have expected Chunbin to react this way. Seeing this, he smiled coldly and motioned for Chunbin to let Wang Quan come forward to confront him. Get Wang Quan and the others here. Upon hearing Guohua's words, Chunbin no longer hesitated and ordered someone to call Wang Quan and the rest over. Not long after, Wang Quan and the others arrived in front of Chunbin under the guidance of an elder. After Wang Quan and the others arrived, they all revealed respectful expressions and bowed to Chunbin and the others. No need to be so courteous. Chunbin waved his hand indifferently. With a serious expression, he looked at Wang Quan and the others and asked, Wang Quan, now tell us exactly what happened in the Mingfeng mountain range that day. Yes, sect leader. Hearing this, Wang Quan nodded respectfully and began to tell the whole story of what happened that day. After hearing Wang Quan's story, Chunbin's eyebrows became serious, and a bad feeling arose in his heart. According to Wang Quan's story, although Wu Xian and the others did not die in their hands, it had something to do with them. Chunbin, now what do you have to say? At this moment, without waiting for Chunbin to explain, Guohua snorted coldly and questioned Chunbin again. Hearing Guohua's words, Chunbin frowned slightly and said with a displeased expression, Guohua, it is obvious that the disciples of your Jianhua school coveted the Yinyang Million Thunder Fruit in Mo Qingyun's hands. In the end, they were no match for Mo Qingyun and were killed instead. They brought this upon themselves. What does it have to do with the disciples of my Fogpool sect? Speaking of this, Chunbin's expression became even colder. He said, if you want to take revenge, go directly to Mo Qingyun. Don't show off in front of my Fogpool sect. Wait, let's not talk about this for now. Let's talk about another matter first. Guohua did not refute Chunbin's explanation. Instead, he sneered and said, recently, some disciples of my Jianhua school, Crimson Star Hall, and Flying Clouds League suddenly disappeared in the sect. As a result, their bodies were found in the Blood Jade Mine of your Fogpool sect. Moreover, there were a large number of demonic beasts of the alien clan in the Blood Jade Mine of your Fogpool sect. How do you explain this? Also, these demonic beasts are closely related to the culprits of the massacre of the previous sects. I hope that Sect Leader Chun can give us a reasonable explanation. Following Guohua's words, Li Shuolin, who was beside Guohua, added with a cold smile, give us an explanation. Give us an explanation. Give us an explanation. After Li Shuolin's words, the people of the other sects all shouted loudly with righteous indignation. Seeing the scene in front of him, Chunbin's expression immediately became serious. He knew that today's matter would be difficult to resolve. While Chunbin's expression was troubled and he didn't know how to answer, Guohua's lips curled up slightly. He sneered, Sect Leader Chun, if this old man's guess is correct, that Mo Qingyun is very likely a spy sent by the alien clan. Your Fogpool sect colluded with the alien clan to harm your own people on the Tianhan continent. This is not a small crime. Wang Quan, tell us quickly, where's that Mo Qingyun? Hearing Guohua's words, an elder of the Fogpool sect questioned Wang Quan with a gloomy expression. In his opinion, the key to this matter was Mo Qingyun. As long as they found Mo Qingyun, this matter would be easily resolved. I don't know. Hearing the elder's words, Wang Quan revealed an innocent expression and shook his head. You don't know? Hearing this, the elder's face immediately darkened. He raised his hand and grabbed Wang Quan's neck. He said angrily, are you going to tell us or not? If you don't tell us, do you believe that this old man won't kill you right now? Wang Quan, hurry up and tell us where Mo Qingyun is. That's right. Can you bear to let the fog pool sect fall into eternal damnation because of an outsider? For a moment, the other elders on the side all tried to persuade Wang Quan. Sect leader, elders, I really don't know. Looking at Qin Bin and the others in front of him, Wang Quan revealed a helpless expression and spoke with difficulty. Elder Qin Yubong, Mo Qingyun is here. While everyone was questioning Wang Quan, Sun Wanner revealed an excited expression and pointed at a figure not far away. Chapter 925. Hearing Sun Wanner's words, Chun Bin and others looked in the direction of Mo Qingyun. They saw a young man in white flying towards the fog pool sect with an indifferent expression. He was not frightened by the situation in front of him at all. In this way, Mo Qingyun walked into the gate of the fog pool sect step by step under everyone's gazes. Walking into the fog pool sect, Mo Qingyun glanced around the fog pool sect and soon found Wang Quan in the crowd. Brother Mo, why did you come to the fog pool sect? Seeing Mo Qingyun walk to him, Wang Quan showed an anxious expression and asked in a worried tone. The meaning of Wang Quan's words could not be more obvious. He was obviously implying that Mo Qingyun should not have come to the fog pool sect. With Mo Qingyun's intelligence, he naturally understood the hidden meaning of Wang Quan's words. He smiled carelessly and said, Brother Wang, didn't you invite me to the fog pool sect to have a chat? Now that I'm in the fog pool sect, you don't welcome me? Alas, hearing Mo Qingyun's words, which pretended to be puzzled, Wang Quan suddenly showed a helpless expression. He shook his head and did not know what to say. In his opinion, in the current situation, Mo Qingyun suddenly came to the fog pool sect, which was simply like a lamb in a tiger's mouth. At this moment, when Wang Quan was anxious and worried, Qin Yubong's expression became colder. He looked at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, Boy, you are Mo Qingyun? You killed Wu Xian and Li Fan of the Jianhua sect? Yes. In response to Qin Yubong's question, Mo Qingyun did not hide and nodded calmly. Very good. Seeing that Mo Qingyun did not open his mouth to explain, Qin Yubong nodded with satisfaction. He raised his hand to grab Mo Qingyun's shoulder and said, Sect leader Wa, now I will hand this boy over to you. You can do whatever you want to him. Judging from Qin Yubong's actions, he seemed to be planning to sacrifice Mo Qingyun to ensure the safety of the Mist Pool sect. However, to everyone's surprise, when Qin Yubong raised his hand to grab Mo Qingyun easily dodged it. After seeing this scene, not only was Qin Yubong surprised, but the others were also surprised. With Mo Qingyun's Heaven Dipper 9th level cultivation, he was actually able to evade the capture of Qin Yubong, who was at the 4th level of the Transcendent Spirit Art. This was truly unexpected. After a brief moment of surprise, Qin Yubong's face darkened. He looked at Mo Qingyun and said angrily, Brat, you actually dare to hide. Could it be that you don't want to admit your mistake? Qin Yubong felt that Mo Qingyun's actions just now had made him lose face. Could it be that I'm supposed to stand there and allow you to bully me? In response to Qin Yubong's question, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disgust and said, Moreover, even if I did make a mistake, it doesn't seem to be your turn to care, right? Am I a disciple of your Mist Pool sect? Under Mo Qingyun's question, Qin Yubong was at a loss for words. He didn't know how to refute Mo Qingyun. Without waiting for Qin Yubong to speak, Mo Qingyun revealed a mocking expression and said, Also, I killed a disciple of the Jianhua sect. Even if someone wants to take revenge on me, it should be someone from the Jianhua sect. Since when is it your turn, a Mist Pool sect elder, to poke your nose into other people's business? At this point, Mo Qingyun paused for a moment and scanned the crowd of the Mist Pool sect. He continued, No wonder the Mist Pool sect is bullied by other sections. It's because they have a dog-like elder like you. Others just came to scare you, and you're already wagging your tail and licking their boots. Kid, you're looking to die. Hearing Mo Qingyun's humiliating words, Qin Yubong was immediately enraged. He wanted to kill Mo Qingyun as soon as possible. Elder Yubong, stay your hand. Qinbin frowned slightly when he saw Qin Yubong's actions. He was rather displeased with Chen Yubong's actions, so he raised his hand to stop him. Mo Qingyun was right. He wasn't a disciple of the Mist Pool sect, so what right did Chen Yubong have to capture him? Moreover, Mo Qingyun had killed a disciple of the Jianhua sect. What did that have to do with the Mist Pool sect? Since it had nothing to do with the Mist Pool sect, why did Chen Yubong help Guohua capture Mo Qingyun? Wasn't that just poking his nose into other people's business? Yes. Seeing that his actions were stopped by Chen Bin, Chen Yubong nodded unwillingly. He looked coldly at Mo Qingyun and walked aside. After stopping Chen Yubong's actions, Chen Bin saluted Mo Qingyun with folded hands and said apologetically, "Little friend Mo, I apologize on behalf of Elder Yubong for his reckless actions just now. From now on, our Mist Pool sect will never interfere in the affairs between you and the Jianhua sect." Good. Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction at Chen Bin's actions. He agreed with Chen Bin's actions. From his standpoint, it was already very commendable that he could do this. He was more than 100 times better than Chen Yubong. Chen Bin, you are so cunning. Seeing Chen Bin's actions, Guohua frowned slightly. He didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would appear out of nowhere. His real purpose was not to kill Mo Qingyun and avenge Wu Xian and the others. His main purpose was to destroy the Mist Pool sect and plunder the treasures in the Mist Pool sect's treasury. After a short silence, Guohua suddenly raised his head and laughed loudly. He looked at Chen Bin and said sarcastically, "Chen Bin, you are so cunning. Do you think that you can cover up the crimes of your Mist Pool sect by randomly finding a boy at the 9th level of the Celestial Dipper Realm to be the scapegoat?" After Guohua said this, he winked at Li Xuelin and Chen Bin, indicating that they should fan the flames. That's right. Chen Bin, you are so despicable and shameless. You want to cover it up with this. You are obviously guilty. Friends from all sects, the Mist Pool sect is so cunning. Let's destroy them together. There is no need to talk nonsense with them. Destroy the Mist Pool sect and return peace to our Mingfeng mountain range. For a moment, all kinds of words condemning the Mist Pool sect came out from the mouths of the surrounding people. Then, Guohua and the others didn't give Chen Bin a chance to explain. They directly led people to attack the Mist Pool sect. It seems that Guohua and the others are determined to destroy our Mist Pool sect today. Looking at the aggressive Guohua and the others, Chen Bin's expression became serious. He understood the real intention of Guohua and the others. He knew very well that with the current strength of the Mist Pool sect, they couldn't resist the joint attack of Guohua and the others. Soon, the people from all sects, led by Guohua, attacked Chen Bin and the others of the Mist Pool sect. Then, Mo Qingyun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. As the real culprit who killed Wu Xian and the others, he was directly ignored by everyone. Was he really an unlucky scapegoat in everyone's mind, a boy who could be ignored? At this moment, when Mo Qingyun smiled bitterly about this, something extremely ironic happened. Chen Yubong, the elder of the Mist Pool sect, didn't fight back when the Mist Pool sect was attacked by other sections. Instead, he attacked Mo Qingyun with his palm. "Boy, go to hell." Chen Yubong showed a sinister expression. After he attacked Mo Qingyun with his palm burst out with amazing yuanli. Chapter 926. Elder Chen Yubong, please don't. Elder Yubong, please have mercy. Seeing Chen Yubong's actions, Wang Quan and the rest became anxious and quickly begged Chen Yubong. However, Chen Yubong chose to ignore his pleas. Instead, his attacks became even more ruthless. "I think you're the one who's courting death." Seeing that Chen Yubong attacked him again, Mo Qingyun's face darkened and a murderous aura exuded from his body. Even a clay figurine had a temper, let alone Mo Qingyun. Considering that Chen Yubong was an elder of the Fog Pool sect, Mo Qingyun didn't want to be calculated with him for his previous offensive actions. However, Chen Yubong didn't know what was good for him and attacked Mo Qingyun again and again. This had already touched Mo Qingyun's bottom line. 5 origins as one. Mo Qingyun waved the colorless sword and released a five-colored radiance. It turned into a five-colored sword radiance and swept towards Chen Yubong. Puchi. Facing the powerful attack of the five-colored sword radiance, the elemental energy giant palm didn't have any power to resist. It was instantly split open and dissipated between heaven and earth. After destroying the elemental energy giant palm, the five-colored sword radiance's attack speed didn't decrease and continued to attack Chen Yubong. Chen Yubong obviously didn't expect that his all-out attack would be so easily defeated by Mo Qingyun. Therefore, he didn't have time to react to the five-colored sword radiance's attack and was directly hit. Puchi. Under the attack of the five-colored sword radiance, a huge wound appeared on Chen Yubong's body. A large amount of blood gushed out and dyed his clothes red in the blink of an eye. How? How could this be? Looking at the huge wound on his chest, Chen Yubong widened his eyes and revealed an expression of disbelief. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't understand how a Heaven Dipper 9th stage brat could have such terrifying strength. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Chen Yubong's shock. He held the colorless sword and attacked Chen Yubong again. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Chen Yubong and swung his sword at his throat. With a slash of his sword, a five-colored sword light with an imposing aura instantly approached Chen Yubong. Kuei would Spirit Palm, Spring for withered trees. Facing Mo Qingyun's sword, Chen Yubong didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately blasted out a palm in an attempt to neutralize Mo Qingyun's sword. After Chen Yubong blasted out a palm strike, waves of dark green essence energy formed a dark green armor around his body. Puchi. However, under Mo Qingyun's sword, the green armor around Chen Yubong's body was instantly shattered and shattered. After the five-colored sword radiance destroyed the turquoise armor, it swept across Chen Yubong's neck, leaving behind a bright red sword mark. Puff! A bright red mist of blood erupted from Chen Yubong's neck, dyeing the surrounding heaven and earth red. How is this possible? Following that, Chen Yubong revealed an unwilling expression and his body fell straight to the ground. Seeing Mo Qingyun killing Chen Yubong, the surrounding people were shocked. They couldn't believe that this was real. An expert at the 4th level of the Transcendent God Realm was actually insta-killed by a Heaven Dipper Stage 9 expert in a single move. Was there anything more ridiculous than this? Following that, these people distanced themselves from Mo Qingyun. They were worried that Mo Qingyun would attack them. While these people were avoiding Mo Qingyun, Chun Bin and the rest, who were fighting against Guohua and the rest, also saw the situation. Secmaster, what should we do now? Should we take revenge for Elder Yubong? Seeing Mo Qingyun killing Chen Yubong, an elder of the Fog Pool sect asked Chen Bin for his opinion with a serious expression. Hearing the elder's words, Chen Bin glanced at Mo Qingyun and said in a deep voice, "Don't bother about Mo Qingyun. Chen Yubong was killed by him. He brought this upon himself. Also, although Mo Qingyun's cultivation isn't high, his strength is indeed terrifying. It's not suitable for us to make enemies with him now." Hearing Chun Bin's words, the elder of the Fog Pool sect nodded and agreed with Chun Bin's words. If Chen Yubong didn't attack Mo Qingyun, then Mo Qingyun wouldn't attack him and naturally wouldn't kill him. After killing Chen Yubong, Mo Qingyun didn't stop. With a flash, he arrived beside Wang Quan and the rest. Although Mo Qingyun was rather displeased with Chen Yubong's actions, he wouldn't vent his anger on the others of the Fog Pool sect. For example, when Mo Qingyun first arrived at the Fog Pool sect, Wang Quan's anxious and worried actions and Chun Bin's actions of stopping Chen Yubong still left a good impression on him. "Follow me. I'll lead you out of here." After arriving beside Wang Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun instructed them before beginning to kill the people from the Jianhua sect and the other sections. Afterwards, Wang Quan and the others gradually retreated from the Fog Pool sect under Mo Qingyun's sweeping attacks. Perhaps it was because Mo Qingyun's actions were too shocking, but very soon, the people from the various sects noticed him. They all became furious. This was because they discovered that every time Mo Qingyun attacked, he would take the lives of several people. In that short moment, they discovered that many of their sect's disciples had already been killed by Mo Qingyun. Damn, brat, you're courting death. After discovering this, the elders from the various sects all revealed furious expressions and attacked Mo Qingyun furiously. All of you back off a little. Seeing the elders from the various sects attack, Mo Qingyun's expression became more serious as he instructed Wang Quan and the others. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun leaped up and waved the colorless sword in his hand, spinning 360 degrees in the air. 5 origins as one. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, the colorless sword instantly emitted a 5-colored radiance. It exploded into a 5-colored sword radiance that spread out like a wave. Bang, bang, bang. Under Mo Qingyun's sword, the furious attacks of the elders from the various sects were instantly defeated. After defeating the furious attacks of the elders from the various sects, the circular sword radiance's attack speed didn't decrease at all. It continued to sweep towards the elders from the various sections. Puff, puff, puff. Faced with the bombardment of the 5-colored circular sword radiance, the elders from the various sects were instantly sent flying. They fell to the ground with heavy injuries. One move. With just one move, he neutralized the combined attack of more than 10 elders from the various sections. On top of that, he also heavily injured and sent them flying. After witnessing this scene, the surrounding crowd was instantly dumbfounded. They even forgot to attack each other. Right now, Mo Qingyun's performance had completely shocked their souls. Too strong. Is this brat really in the Heaven Star Border Stage 9 cultivation? With just one move, he heavily injured more than 10 Transcendent Realm experts. Even a level 5 Transcendent Realm expert can't do that. Could it be that this brat is a 6-kill prodigy? It seems like even the prodigies from the 8 Great Sacred Mountains aren't at his level. Monstrous, too monstrous. At this moment, some of the smaller sects' leaders, elders, and disciples looked at Mo Qingyun with reverence. They knew that with their own strength, they definitely wouldn't be able to withstand Mo Qingyun's sword. Chapter 9:27. As these people maintained their distance from Mo Qingyun, a moment later, a strange scene appeared. No one dared to approach within a few hundred meters of Mo Qingyun. All of them looked at Mo Qingyun with respect. Over 100 Transcendent Realm experts were frightened by a Heaven Star Border Stage 9 cultivator. This scene was a little comical and ironic. Where did this Mo Qingyun come from? He actually has such a shocking cultivation. Looking at Mo Qingyun in the middle of the empty space, Chunbin was shocked. He was very curious about Mo Qingyun's identity. He had seen many geniuses. He was even lucky enough to meet some of the geniuses from the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. But among the people he knew, none of them had talent that could compare with Mo Qingyun. Even the geniuses from the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain couldn't compare with Mo Qingyun. How could Chunbin not be shocked? Sectmaster, what should we do now? Looking at this strange scene, the elders of the Fog Pool sect showed serious expressions and asked Chunbin for his plan. Hearing the elders' question, Chunbin showed a serious expression and said, "Everyone, don't act rashly. Observe the situation first. If there is a chance, we will try our best to help Mo Qingyun." From a situation just now, Chunbin could see that Mo Qingyun had a good relationship with Wang Quan and the rest. Chunbin thought that if he could use this relationship to pull Mo Qingyun into the Fog Pool sect, it would definitely be a joyous occasion. Yes. Hearing Chunbin's words, the elders didn't understand, but they still nodded their heads. Brother Mo is so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun heavily injuring over a dozen Transcendent Realm experts with one sword, Wang Quan was stunned. He felt that this scene was a little unbelievable. This was more than a dozen Transcendent Realm experts, not just Heaven Dipper Realm experts. Facing such a powerful lineup, even a level 5 Transcendent Realm expert would have to avoid the sharpness of their blade. But what about Mo Qingyun? Didn't that mean that Mo Qingyun was stronger than a 5th level Transcendent Realm cultivator? At this moment, Sun Wan'er and the others' feelings were similar to Wang Quan's. They were all greatly shocked. Who is he? Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was not far away from her, Sankame's eyes rippled and a trace of curiosity appeared on her face. This brat. Looking at Mo Qingyun in the middle of the open space, Guohua and the others gritted their teeth, wishing they could skin Mo Qingyun alive. In just a short period of time, more than 10 disciples from the Janhua sect had died under Mo Qingyun's sword. However, even though Guohua was furious, he did not dare to act rashly. There was nothing he could do about it. The feeling Mo Qingyun gave him was too mysterious. He couldn't help but feel apprehensive about Mo Qingyun's origins. How terrifying would a force that could nurture a genius like Mo Qingyun be? However, Guohua and the others had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would come looking for trouble with them instead when they didn't go looking for trouble with him. Are you guys done looking? Glancing at the people around him, Mo Qingyun's tone was calm. His expression turned cold as he said, "If you want to make a move, then hurry up and come at me. I'm still waiting here. If you don't dare to make a move, then scram immediately." Crazy. Too crazy. This was insufferably crazy. A Heaven Star Border Stage 9 brat dared to challenge more than 100 transcendent realm cultivators. This could not be described as crazy. If they hadn't seen Mo Qingyun's previous attack, they would have thought that Mo Qingyun was crazy. However, after witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength and hearing his words, not only did they not feel that he was being arrogant, but they also unconsciously felt that he was fearless. In their eyes, Mo Qingyun must have some powerful trump card to dare to make such a move. Why aren't you guys saying anything? Seeing that there was still no reaction from the crowd, Mo Qingyun scanned the crowd and pointed at the sect leader of a small sect. "You scram over here." No, I'm just passing by." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the sect leader's face turned pale. He waved his hands in fear and kept backing away. Seeing this person's reaction, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a disdainful smile. He said coldly, "Since you're just passing by, then scram." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, this person's face was filled with fear. He quickly left with the inner sect disciples. Then, Mo Qingyun scanned the crowd again. Under Mo Qingyun's cold gaze, people kept leaving. Seeing Mo Qingyun's domineering and mighty actions, the surrounding Fog Pool sect disciples looked at him with admiration. Just one look, and he scared away a transcendent realm expert. So domineering, so mighty. If I can be so domineering for once in my life, I wouldn't have lived in vain. So cool. This is a real man. I want to have babies with him. For a moment, the Fog Pool sect disciples forgot about their fear. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism. They watched as the people from the various sects left in fear under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's aura. Guohua, Li Xuelin, and Lu Feiyun's faces became more and more unsightly. Their bodies were trembling. A perfect plan, actually because of a heavenly dipper realm cultivation-based brat, led to the failure immediately. This wasn't something they could accept. They had to stop Mo Qingyun and teach him a lesson, even if it would anger the power behind Mo Qingyun. Of course, other than that, Guohua and the others were also worried that today's matter would be spread. They didn't want others to know that they were frightened by a Heaven Star Border Realm Junior, even though they had almost 100 transcendent realm experts. They wouldn't have the face to stay in Mingfeng Mountain Range anymore. This was too embarrassing. Thinking of this, Guohua couldn't hold back anymore. He moved and attacked Mo Qingyun. "Brat, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Guohua held a golden mace in his hand. He swung out a totem pole like staff light and smashed it towards Mo Qingyun. When Guohua attacked, Li Xuelin and Lu Feiyun didn't hesitate either. They followed closely behind and attacked Mo Qingyun. Li Xuelin held a slender black whip in his hand. With a swing, almost 100 whip shadows appeared and instantly enveloped Mo Qingyun. As for Lu Feiyun, he held 2 separation hooks and slashed out a few times at extremely fast speed. He slashed out a few blade lights that were almost undetectable. Good timing. Facing Guohua and the other two's attacks, Mo Qingyun didn't show any fear. Instead, he emitted a strong fighting spirit. Chapter 928. Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious when he saw the rapidly approaching staff radiance, whip radiance, and saber radiance. He tightened his grip on the colorless sword. At this moment, the 6 origins of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and wind were unleashed by him without holding back. The colorless sword shone with 6 brilliant colors. 6 origins in one break. Mo Qingyun waved the colorless sword and slashed out a 6-colored sword radiance in an arc. It met the staff radiance, whip radiance, and saber radiance at an extremely fast speed. Six types of perfected origin energies. Everyone's expression changed when they saw the 6-colored sword radiance slashed out by Mo Qingyun. They felt that this scene was so unreal. Under normal circumstances, if a person could comprehend one origin of perfection when he was in the Heaven Star realm, he would be considered a genius. If a person could comprehend 2 origins of perfection when he was in the Heaven Star realm, he would be considered a rare genius. As for comprehending 3 origins of perfection when he was in the Heaven Star realm, that was just a rumor. But now, Mo Qingyun had comprehended 6 types of perfect source powers. Just how freakish was this? How could everyone not be shocked? This Mo Qingyun is really a peerless genius. Chunbin could not help but sigh when he saw Mo Qingyun wielding the colorless sword and slashing out 6-colored sword radiance. This was the first time he had seen someone with talent as great as Mo Qingyun's. Chi. After the 6-colored sword radiance clashed with the staff radiance, whip radiance, and saber radiance, there was an ear-piercing sound as if a steel saw was sawing on a piece of iron. At the point where the 6-colored sword radiance clashed with the staff radiance, whip radiance, and saber radiance, there was an arc of origin energy chi wave that caused the surrounding space to distort. Clap, 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 clap. Dazzling flames rained down from the sky when the 6-colored sword radiance, staff radiance, whip radiance, and saber radiance collided with each other. When the flames landed on the ground, it immediately turned the ground into a sea of fire. The surrounding people quickly retreated. At the same time, there seemed to be a stalemate between Mo Qingyun and Guohua's trio. But even so, it still shocked the surrounding people quite a bit, and they all felt that it was hard to believe. A Heaven Dipper realm cultivator forcefully withstanding the attacks of 3 God Tier 6 experts. This kind of ability could be said to be unprecedented. He actually took it, seeing that Mo Qingyun wasn't at a disadvantage even after taking on the combined attacks of Guohua and the other 2. Chunbin unconsciously clenched his fists and said in shock, "Where did this Mo Qingyun come from? What kind of strength could nurture such a genius? Is this his full strength?" At this moment, Chunbin's heart was filled with doubt. Mo Qingyun had brought him too many surprises. Too strong. Brother Mo is really too strong. Is this the strength a Heaven Star border cultivator should have? Yes. We're all on the 9th level of Heaven Dipper. Why is the difference so big? This is too much of a blow. I always thought that I was a genius, but now I realize that I'm just an idiot. Looking at the domineering Mo Qingyun, even Wang Quan was shocked, and a bitter smile appeared on his face. Compared to the shock of the others, Guohua and the other 2 were undoubtedly more shocked. How is this possible? This brat is only in the 9th level of Heaven Dipper realm. How can he block our combined attacks? Seeing that their combined attacks were easily blocked by Mo Qingyun, Guohua's face was filled with disbelief. He couldn't accept the reality in front of him. Li Xuelin and the other 2 by the side were also shocked, and they found it hard to believe. Blocked your attacks? Hearing Guohua's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and replied, "You guys think too highly of yourselves. If I want to defeat you, I only need one move." "Brat, don't be so arrogant." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Li Xuelin's face darkened, and he waved the long whip in his hand wildly. In an instant, the shadows of the whip crisscrossed, and like a black net that covered the sky, it fell towards Mo Qingyun. Facing Li Shuolin's all-out attack, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly, and he swung his sword toward the sky. 7 essences as one break. Silver, cyan, green, blue, yellow, crimson, and gold elemental energy of 7 different colors gushed out from the colorless sword, turning into a 7-colored sword light, and shot towards the shadows of the whip in the sky. Boom, boom, boom. After the 7-colored sword light was formed, a shocking sound of thunder could be heard, and it made people feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Under the impact of the 7-colored sword light, the shadows of the whip in the sky were like the clouds parting to reveal the moon. They were instantly destroyed and dissipated by the 7-colored sword light. After destroying the shadows of the whip, Mo Qingyun turned around and swung the colorless sword in his hand again, and a 7-colored half-moon sword light was sent towards Guohua and the other 2. As soon as the 7-colored half-moon sword light appeared, it closed in on Guohua and the other 2 with a thunderous force. Theurgy change. Looking at the rapidly approaching sword light, Guohua and the other 2 had no time to think, and they immediately entered the Theurgy change state. Sky Wolf Sky Breaking Staff. Demon Wolf swallows the sun. After entering the Theurgy change state, Guohua directly turned into a tall silver wolf, and he swung his mace down fiercely. As he swung the mace, it suddenly shone brightly, and a cyan wolf shadow burst out, opening its mouth wide to pounce on the 7-colored half-moon sword light. Chapter 929. Do you think you can escape? Seeing Guohua and the other 2's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He raised his hand to grab the air and shouted, "Get back here!" Under Mo Qingyun's grab, the sky suddenly changed color. A shocking amount of origin energy gathered crazily and turned into 3 huge blue palms, grabbing at Guohua and the other 2. Seeing the 3 huge blue palms approaching rapidly, Guohua and the other 2 were shocked. They raised their hands to attack the huge blue palms. Puff! Under Guohua and the other 2's attack, the huge blue palms were instantly defeated and turned into balls of mist floating in the air. Seeing this, Guohua and the other 2's expressions relaxed, and the fear in their hearts eased a little. Fortunately, Mo Qingyun's attack was not strong. Under the 3's attack, it was easily defeated. However, before Guohua and the other 2 could calm down, their faces turned pale. They saw that the huge blue palms that were defeated by them reformed in the blink of an eye and continued to grab at them. Under the grasp of the blue palm, Guohua and the other 2 were directly caught and held tightly by the blue palm. Ice form. Seeing that the Azure Sea mysterious ice dragon capturing hands had caught Guohua and the other 2, Mo Qingyun began to change their forms, turning them into 3 huge mysterious ice palms. Soon, the 3 huge blue palms turned into snow-colored ice palms, emitting a bone-chilling coldness. Under the corrosion of the coldness, Guohua and the other 2's clothes and hair quickly formed a layer of frost. Not only that, but under the corrosion of the coldness, the 3 of them could not even use their origin energy. Then, under everyone's gaze, Guohua and the other 2 were caught by the 3 huge mysterious ice palms. Bang! Caught by the huge mysterious ice palms, Guohua and the other 2 were violently smashed to the ground, making a loud noise. At the same time, the ground shook violently. Huge cracks appeared in the ground, and a sandstorm, like a hurricane, was set off. After a while, the sandstorm dissipated, revealing Guohua and the other 2's figures. Guohua and the other 2 were kneeling on the ground in a sorry state. Under the violent impact, their legs seemed to have been completely crippled. Silence. Incomparable silence. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings held their breaths, not daring to make the slightest sound for fear of disturbing the young man in the center of the open space. They did not expect that Guohua and the other two would not be able to put up any resistance in front of him, even with their cultivation bases. If they hadn't seen this scene with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. A cultivator at the 9th level of Heavenly Dipper was actually this strong? What? What a terrifying technique. Chun Bin's heart trembled, and his body trembled uncontrollably. He looked at Mo Qingyun in panic and said, Mo Qingyun, other than being the sect leader of Jianhua sect, I'm also the external affairs deacon of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. If you dare to touch me, Sky Sword Sacred Mountain will not let you off. As soon as Guohua said this, he clearly sensed that the killing intent emanating from Mo Qingyun's body had intensified slightly. Trying to use Sky Sword Sacred Mountain to scare me? I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. In response to Guohua's threatening words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said coldly, Not to mention a mere external affairs deacon like you. I've even killed and crippled one of Li's lineal disciples. So, you'd better accept your death obediently. The colorless sword suddenly bloomed with light, and a 7-colored sword light burst out, bombarding Guohua. Looking at the rapidly approaching 7-colored sword radiance, Guohua was shocked, and his face turned as pale as a sheet of paper. At the same time, Guohua took out his long sword and swung it at the 7-colored sword radiance. He hoped that a miracle would happen and that he would be able to destroy the 7-colored sword radiance with one strike. However, even with the 3 of them working together, they were unable to destroy the 7-colored sword radiance. Naturally, it was impossible for him to do it alone. Puff. Chapter 9:30. After killing Guohua and the other two, Mo Qingyun raised his head and scanned the surroundings. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the surrounding people felt a wave of fear and an intense chill rose in their hearts. At this moment, they were all worried about whether or not Mo Qingyun would make a move on them. Scram! A cold voice came from Mo Qingyun's mouth, carrying with it a strand of spiritual energy. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone's faces paled and an intense sense of fear rose in their hearts. Following this, the people from the various sects did not dare to stay any longer. They all turned around and left the Mistpond sect. Seeing everyone leave the Mistpond sect, Chunbin muttered to himself for a moment before quickly walking towards Mo Qingyun. He said, Little friend Mo, I apologize on behalf of Elder Qinyubong. Please come to the sect and let me apologize. Sect leader Chunbin, there's no need for you to do this. The person who offended me was not you, so there's no need for you to apologize to me. In response to Chun Bin's apology, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and waved his hand. He did not seem to be angered by Chun Yubong's actions at all. Little friend Mo, you're really reasonable. Why don't you come to the sect and let me be the host? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Chun Bin's expression immediately relaxed, and his evaluation of Mo Qingyun rose a few notches. All right. Mo Qingyun did not reject Chun Bin's invitation and walked into the Mist Pond sect with Chun Bin. Sect leader Chun, the Jianhua sect, is a subordinate force of the Sky Lake Sacred Mountain. Now that I've killed Guohua, I'm afraid the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain will not let this matter rest. I'm worried that they won't be able to find me and will take their anger out on the Mist Pond sect. Therefore, you have to be careful from now on. On the way into the Mist Pond sect, Mo Qingyun revealed a worried expression and reminded Chun Bin. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chun Bin revealed a grateful expression and replied to Mo Qingyun, Little friend Mo, there's something you don't know. Although Guohua and the others are subordinates of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, they're actually just sucking up to an elder of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. Therefore, the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain will definitely not send people to deal with our Mist Pond sect for them. I see. Mo Qingyun nodded. He pondered for a moment and said, Even so, it's still better to be careful. I've troubled you, little friend Mo. I'll instruct them later. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Chun Bin's expression of gratitude and clasped his hands, clasped his hands towards Mo. Now, in Chunbin's eyes, Mo Qingyun was already someone of the same status as him. It could even be said that Mo Qingyun's status was even nobler than his. Mo Qingyun was only at the 9th stage of the Heaven Dipper realm, but his strength was already comparable to a high-level transcendent realm expert. Chunbin found it hard to imagine how powerful Mo Qingyun would be once his cultivation broke through to the transcendent realm. All right, there's another very important matter that I need to remind Sect Master Chun. Thinking about the blood shadow in the blood jade mine, Mo Qingyun suddenly stopped and looked at Chunbin with a serious expression. Little friend Mo, please speak. Seeing Mo Qingyun's expression, Chunbin's expression also became serious as he waited for Mo Qingyun to speak. A few days ago, I discovered a terrifying existence in the blood jade mine of your esteemed sect. Mo Qingyun sorted out his thoughts and told Chunbin about the blood shadow. With a serious expression, he said, "Therefore, to prevent your esteemed sect from being attacked by him, I suggest that Sect Master Chun move the Miss Pond sect out of Mingfeng mountain range." This, Chunbin didn't doubt Mo Qingyun's words at all. After all, Mo Qingyun wouldn't gain anything by lying to him. However, he was a little hesitant and troubled by the fact that he had to move the sect. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun didn't understand the situation of the Miss Pond sect. Therefore, he suggested that he move the Miss Pond sect. Why did the Miss Pond sect come to Mingfeng mountain range? Wasn't it to avoid being hunted down by the sky, Sword Mystic Mountain? If he moved the Miss Pond sect out of Mingfeng mountain range, what if they were hunted down by the sky, Sword Mystic Mountain again? This was the problem that Chunbin was most worried about. Seeing that the Miss Pond sect didn't reply, Mo Qingyun didn't continue to persuade them and followed Chunbin into the sect. Seeing Mo Qingyun walking with Chunbin, Wang Quan and the others revealed looks of admiration and envy. They couldn't help but sigh. They were all in the Heaven Dipper realm, but why was the difference so big? Bang! At this moment, when Mo Qingyun walked into the Miss Pond sect, a loud sound came from inside the Miss Pond sect. Seeing this, Chunbin and the others no longer hesitated and hurried into the Miss Pond sect. Soon, an old man at the peak of the 6th level of the God Power realm climbed out of a pile of ruins. "Martial Uncle Song Luo, what are you?" Looking at the old man who made a mess of the surroundings, Chunbin revealed a bitter expression. He didn't know what to say to the old man. "What were you arguing about?" "I just had a small accident when refining the Violet Cloud Mansion Emperor pill, causing the pill to explode." After seeing Chunbin's expression, the old man was displeased and reprimanded Chunbin fiercely. Refining the Violet Cloud Mansion Emperor pill caused the pill to explode. It should be because the amount of violet cloud grass, golden flame fruit, and water cloud branch was not controlled properly. Hearing the old man's words, Mo Qingyun sniffed the smell in the air and guessed the situation. Chapter 9:31. Uncle Master Song. This little friend Mo is seeing Song Luo's actions. Chunbin dared not delay at all. He hurriedly walked over to Song Luo's side, wanting to stop him from competing with Mo Qingyun. Chunbin was very clear in his heart that once Mo Qingyun was defeated, Song Luo would definitely take action to deal with Mo Qingyun. This was because in the past, when some disciples of the Mist Pond sect were angered by Song Luo, he would take care of them like this. However, could Song Luo take care of Mo Qingyun? Of course not. Although Song Luo's cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level of the Divine Ability realm, his true strength was definitely not Mo Qingyun's opponent. Moreover, could Chunbin allow Song Luo to be rude to Mo Qingyun? Clearly not. He had worked so hard to get closer to Mo Qingyun. So how could he allow Song Luo to ruin it? "Chunbin, you brat, shut your mouth." Song Luo did not wait for Chunbin to finish his words of persuasion. He directly raised his hand and interrupted Chunbin. After Song Luo interrupted Chunbin's words, he revealed a mischievous smile as he looked at Mo Qingyun. He slowly walked in front of Mo Qingyun and said, "This elder has always liked to use virtue to convince others. Since you feel disdain towards my refining ability, this old man shall have a competition with you. If you can defeat this old man in pill refinement, this old man shall forgive your offense this time. If you cannot, you should know the consequences, right?" With that, Song Luo revealed a mischievous smile and began to rub his palms together. Seeing Song Luo's plan, Chun Bin's heart skipped a beat. He knew what the consequences were. Afterwards, Chun Bin hurriedly walked over to Mo Qingyun and tried to persuade Mo Qingyun not to agree to the competition. However, what made Chun Bin despair was that before he could even lift his foot, Mo Qingyun had already agreed without any hesitation. "Shit, I'm in big trouble this time." Seeing Mo Qingyun agree so readily, Chun Bin was dumbfounded. He didn't know what to do. Mo Qingyun and Song Luo were competing in alchemy. This was no longer a question of who would win, but rather, did Mo Qingyun know how to refine pills? Chun Bin absolutely did not believe that Mo Qingyun, with such a monstrous cultivation talent, could also possess such superb alchemy skills. Moreover, with Song Luo's 9th-tier pill king level. So what if Mo Qingyun knew how to refine pills? Could it be that Mo Qingyun's alchemy skills were higher than Song Luo's, reaching the level of a 9th-grade pill king, or even a pill emperor? Alchemy was not like cultivation. Perhaps after a fortuitous encounter, one's cultivation could advance by leaps and bounds, transforming from a carp into a dragon. Alchemy was a long and arduous process. No matter how high one's perception was to become a Tier 9 pill king, it would take at least a few decades or even a few hundred years of accumulation. He tried to persuade Mo Qingyun not to waste his energy. In his opinion, the alchemy materials that had already been ruined could not be salvaged. Elder Song, the pill materials in your cauldron haven't started to condense into a pill shape. Therefore, there is still some room to save it. Hearing Song Luo's helpless words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head. His hands moved quickly. Then, two rays of light, one black and one white, bloomed from Mo Qingyun's hands. They emitted a mysterious aura. A reverse Taiji diagram flew out from Mo Qingyun's hands and enveloped the pill materials in the cauldron. Under the effect of the reverse primordial image, the originally dull alchemy materials gradually began to recover their vitality. Seeing this, Song Luo's body trembled. It was as if he had seen a miracle. This is an ancient alchemy technique, the yin-yang reversal heaven and earth hand. Seeing the Taiji diagram in the cauldron, Song Luo couldn't help but take a few steps back. He couldn't believe it. In the entire Tianhan continent, there were probably less than 3 people who knew how to refine pills from the ancient era. But now, a young man who wasn't even 30 years old was using such a heaven-defying technique. It scared him quite a bit. As for Chun Bin and the others, they were just as shocked as Song Luo when they saw Mo Qingyun's technique. For a moment, the surroundings were silent. No one dared to make sound. Of course, it wasn't that they didn't dare, but that they were too shocked to react. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.